morning, everybody. And how are you doing today? Today is the 12th, I believe. Yeah, today is the 12th of November. Today is Friday. It's a beautiful, sunny morning here in St. Lucia. And greetings to you wherever you are right now and wherever you are watching us from. We are streaming live on YouTube's Latera channel, Facebook's Latera channel, and on my channel on LinkedIn. We are streaming. So wherever you are joining us from, hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Glad that you are here with us. And I would just like to say that we need to know where you are joining us from. So type in your name and let us know what country, what part of the world that you are joining us from. And what are you here for? You are here for the EWC, also known as the Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia Champions Symposium. This is what you're watching right now, a GEW event, an event which is part of the celebratory activities happening for Global Entrepreneurship Week right here in St. Lucia from November 8th to November 14th. So this particular event that you are joining us for is hosted by Slatera, and it is our third GEW event in the week, and we're so glad that you've joined us. And today, you're going to hear from our Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia champions. We've interviewed a couple of people. Now, due to COVID, we have come across some very, strict time frames and strict periods where persons cannot connect as we would normally do in person, but there's always alternatives. There's online platforms such as what you're watching right now. We're using StreamYard. If you've never heard of StreamYard, check it out and you'll see the benefits of it. So most of our guests, we had pre-recorded interviews with them because, of course, we had some challenging times with schedules and so on but we wanted to put together this event for you so that you can be part of the journey with us. We are talking about Entrepreneurship World Cup, and we're going to take a brief break. But when we come back, you're going to hear a little bit more about Entrepreneurship World Cup and also about what has been happening in St. Lucia since its launch in 2019. You're going to hear from the champions themselves, those persons who emerged as national winners, global finalists, and People's Choice champions. You're going to hear from them. And we also have an interview with a very, very special guest. We also have live in studio with us two very special guests, which you'll be hearing from very, very shortly. Now, without further ado, we're going to say thank you to one of our key sponsors for Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia. And that is none other than the Taiwan Embassy in St. Lucia. We want to say thank you to them for championing this program, for always throwing the support behind the initiatives that Slatera runs, and also for encouraging and empowering entrepreneurs here in St. Lucia. So we're going to see an ad from them and also from the global host, which is the Global Entrepreneurship Network. We just want to say thank you for giving us that power, to the people so that they can showcase their talents, their innovations, their inventions, and also their social entrepreneurship projects that they're using to impact the community and show the world what they're made of. And we want to say thank you to the Global Entrepreneurship Network for that. So when we come back, you're going to hear from our special guest in studio, and you're also going to hear from our champions. When we come back after this brief break, please stay with us.
I'm Jonathan Oatmans, president and founder of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. What we're about is creating an opportunity for anybody, anywhere, to unleash their idea. We want to make sure that the guy that's got the worst deal on the planet has an opportunity. At the Global Entrepreneurship Network, we've built one global entrepreneurship ecosystem that allows anyone on the planet to be able to connect, understand, support, and celebrate the entrepreneurs that represent so much promise for our future. We went in with the belief that we could create a common culture across the globe in the interest of entrepreneurship and innovation. We learned a lot of techniques and tools about ultimately how do you build a community that's across the world? How do you cross national boundaries and cultures and religions and languages? We discovered something that was common in all people. They have this enthusiasm and curiosity about making the world a better place. We tried to provide some structure, but allow a lot of flowers to be blooming the way they wanted to. We have divided our work into 4 primary cornerstones. We want to be able to connect everybody across any aspects of an entrepreneurial ecosystem to find peers, find markets, and find opportunities. Secondly, we want to understand the field better. We want to elevate the field based on research and data. And then thirdly, we're working carefully to provide the best support programs we can find. The last part is we like to celebrate. It's where we began with Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is the notion of making the role of the entrepreneur be perceived around the world as being a force for good, as being the individuals who are able to create new value in our societies and can really set an example for all of our citizens in the way we go about living our lives. Entrepreneurs are the great equalizers. They bring the ability of anybody to be able to have the opportunity no matter where they come from in the world. That promise of entrepreneurship is always what's empowered our community.
Hi, welcome back, everybody, and for staying with us. You're watching EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium, GEW event, and I am your host, Michelle Samuel, and I'm joined by my co-host and colleague, Mylika Amade. Mylika, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michelle.
All right, and I'm hoping that you're very excited about what we're going to be doing today, which is talking about our champions and giving them a chance to tell their story. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's an event most look forward to. So we could tell St. Lucia and the rest of the world what St. Lucia has to offer.
I definitely agree with you. Now, for those of you who are wondering, how do you get into this conversation or join, you can actually post your comments or questions in the comments and we can highlight them on the screen so that everybody can see. So if you have any questions or comment for us and for our live guests in studio, feel free to chime into the chats and to the comments on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook, wherever you're joining us from, and let us know what you're thinking of. So, Mylika, today we're going to be talking about Entrepreneurship World Cup. But in the event that our viewers are not familiar with Entrepreneurship World Cup, let's tell them a little bit about it. Okay, so first of all, Entrepreneurship World Cup is a program, so it's not just a pitch competition. We like to say that it is a program that empowers entrepreneurs at all levels. And when I say all levels, Mylika, help me out here. We're talking about idea stage.
Startups. Yep.
Startups.
Just an idea. Just an idea.
Mm-hmm. So if you have an idea, if you're already in business in the early stages, and if you've been in business for up to 7 years, then once you meet that criteria and you fall within the age range, and the age range is 18 and over, for the early stage and the growth stage, but the idea stage, there's no entry level age. So you could be as young as 5, as young as 8, and you have an entrepreneurial idea or an innovative product, you are eligible to enter. I mean, this program is amazing, man. And it is called the biggest pitch competition in the world. And there's a reason for that. Malika, can you give them an idea as to why they call it the biggest pitch competition in the world?
I would say because of all the perks that come with it, the training and the resources,
Yeah.
the connections, just name it. This is the place to be. The mentorship, the prizes. Let's not even talk about the prizes.
Oh my gosh. I think we need to talk about the prizes because that's why a lot of people take part in competitions, right? They want to know what's in it for me, right? So in terms of prizes, I mean, there's in-kind prizes that has really great value. And these are from the global partners of Entrepreneurship World Cup. And these are some amazing prizes. And these prizes in kind sum up to over 75 let me not say that, too. Okay, let me pace myself. 75 million. I didn't say thousand. I said million, right? That's the in-kind value. That's not even the cash value. That's the in-kind value. Malika, do you think we should tell them what the cash value is like?
Of
For
course, I think
people.
everybody's on their seat waiting to hear that one.
Uh, I don't think they're ready for it now. I do not think that they're ready for it. I'm so sorry about that. My phone is ringing. I'm so sorry about that. Malika, please tell them what the cash prize value is.
More than $1 million in cash prizes. $1 million. That's something any level of entrepreneurship will need. Whether it is to scale your business, whether it is to start up, that $1 million will go a long way.
Agreed. And what's even better about it is that there's something for everyone. It's not the typical competition where you enter a pitch competition and you have to wait until the very end to see if you get something. This is not how this competition works or this program works. The competition works in that it combines programs that train you, programs that impart knowledge on you, from real life professionals that are providing workshops, and also training sessions, coaching sessions, mentorship sessions, that you can benefit from. And then aside from that, you have an accelerate program that you have access to, that everybody who enters has access to. Malika, can you tell them a little bit about what they get in terms of the perks as well?
Oh, well, for what I know in some of the terms of the perks, they will get a chance to actually win trips to certain places to be part of Entrepreneurship World Cup in other countries. They will get training on specific parts of the business, whether it be financial, whether it be marketing. One of the biggest perks, I think, is the networking, where you get to meet so many different people from all over the world.
I agree with Malika on that. I really do. And there's so much value in connecting with people than just the money that you get out of it. Yes, getting the money is a really great thing, but what about the connections that you make? Isn't there value in that? And we say yes. And Entrepreneurship World Cup allows you to connect with people all over the globe. You get to meet and connect with people and learn from people that you'd never expect to. And the things that you learn can impact your life and your business. And of course, you not just hear it from me, you'll hear it from the entrepreneurs themselves. But Malika, we've been talking about, the perks, we've been talking about the prizes, but we need to hear about the people, right? That's what we're here for. The actual persons who participated in this competition, the persons who really benefited from it, who participated in such a way that it impacted them and it put them in the spotlight, in the limelight. So these are the people that we're going to hear from. So the first guest that we're going to bring on is actually one of the judges. I would say he is representing our entire pool of judges because all of them, they could not be here, with us this morning. Again, remember the busy schedules, man. Everybody busy. We understand that. So this one judge is representing all of the judges who have participated in EWC from the time we launched in 2019 to now. So he's representing all of them, all right? And the person that we're speaking of is no stranger to us. In other words, you've seen him before. And when I say he's no stranger, I don't just mean that you've seen him before. You can relate to him because he's what you call the son of the soil. Now, do you get a clue as to who I'm talking about? No, not yet. Those of you who are watching, please let us know who you think that I'm talking about. I would say he is our very own homegrown celebrity. Yeah, that's what I call him. So when I mention his name, like, hey, I know a celebrity too. I mean, it may not be those movie stars, but hey, on our level, he is a celebrity. And when we have celebrities that are, giving back to their own, like Rihanna is giving back to her country, Barbados. As tiny as it is and as big as she is, she's never too big to come back home. She's never too big to give back, to her island and to say, I'm a Barbadian, I'm proud of it. She's never too big for that. Likewise, this individual is never too big, never too large, never too successful to say, I'm a St. Lucian. And he says it with pride. And I really admire that about him. So, Malika, I will give you the honor of introducing our very first guest for this morning. And he is?
Jamru, none other than our very own Mr. Joshua Esnad. I think everybody's heard about the Cut Buddy.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good morning.
Morning. Son of the Soil, I like that name. I might just get that tattoo on me, Son of the Soil. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So welcome, Joshua. Tell us, how are you feeling? Like, where are you based right now? We're telling everybody you're St. Lucian, but where are you right now?
Yes. So I was born in Kashmir on Entrepreneurship, but I moved to the United States when my parents were going to college, and it brought me through a whole mission. And right now I'm in North Carolina, where I started a farm on my land, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling blessed. I have a new baby daughter, 6 months old, and I have a son and a family, and being an entrepreneur and an inventor has made that possible for me. So, but the main thing is always to go back to your roots and make sure that you are watering the seeds of the soil,
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now, Joshua, something else that, I kind of want to bring up that I guess was not part of, the conversation is, was I correct in saying that you're a bit of a celebrity? Did I overstep there a bit? Did I give you props, or just predict that this was gonna happen?
I mean, I don't consider myself a celebrity. I'm definitely not Denzel Washington or Rihanna. The media has been kind to me with being on Shark Tank for many seasons, and then with HGTV, and then I've been featured on a lot of media stuff from Forbes to Black Enterprise, but I stay humble because as soon as it gets to your head, it's the point that you start losing. So the main focus is always stay grounded and love what you're doing, enjoy the ride. Never get too big or think that you're a celebrity. So even if I do end up being a real celebrity, I don't think I'll ever consider myself that.
Oh, well, definitely a humble response. Definitely a humble response. And as I've known you, this is how I know you to be. Definitely a humble response. So let's just kick off our discussion. I mean, that was just a precursor, but let's just kick off our discussion. I mean, you told us a little bit about, who you are. You're a family man. You just welcomed a young daughter. Congratulations, by the way, on your daughter.
Thank you.
You have, I think, two children now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, yeah, I just had the first one when I first got involved with EWC and Terra, and then the second one came around during COVID. I think a lot of babies were born during COVID.
My goodness. So COVID has very many, definitions for other people, but for you, it has that particular definition. Um, Now, for us with EWC, when we were looking at the judges, who would take part in this competition and help us to make the competition what it would be, we we decided to go with people who we knew had a reputation, who we knew were experienced, and of course, who we knew would just jump at the opportunity to just champion young persons. And you just happen to be one of these people. But we kind of want to get people to understand, why did you choose this, life for yourself, over, being, working for somebody. Like, tell us, why did you, before we get to EWC and, how you got there, tell us, why did you choose entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I think entrepreneurship really comes from the beginning. Watching my family, from my great grandma, in Menard Hill, figure out innovative ways to get a mango down a tree or to bring electricity up the hill all the way to my dad being in, a wind band plantation and getting stuck in a truck in the mud and figuring out a way to use box spring to get the truck out of the mud, or my dad, creating those bamboo cannons and stuff when I was a kid. Just watching that innovation in my family. At first, you don't tell yourself that's entrepreneurship because you don't really wrap that around a business. But really, what entrepreneurship is, it starts with a question, a problem. And what my parents were doing and my family were doing, and what many people do, is they have problems, but when you become entrepreneurs, when you actually decide to solve the problem and try to find a way to monetize it or to help a large amount of people, and you take the risk by leaving behind everything that you have to pursue this heroic mission. Why I chose to do it was I was in the corporate world. I was in also the public sector world. I had a normal job. But I realized that at some point, my educational background, I have a bachelor's degree in finance and business, that was only going to get me so far. I got to a level of the job where they wanted me to apply to be a director at my job, but they wanted a master's degree. They wanted 20 years, 10 years of experience. I hadn't have even been out of college or school for 20, 15 years, so I already knew that they were going to choose someone who was 40 or 50 years old. So at that point where my career hit a plateau, not because I wasn't ready to take on a job, it's because others had put a kind of a ceiling on the requirements for jobs. I realized that I had to leave and pursue my own happiness. And what I did was I approached, had an inventor book since I was a kid with a bunch of problems and drawings of inventions. And simply I chose the invention that really spoke to me, that I used a lot to fix my problems growing up. And that was really at the point when my career plateaued as far as working for someone else. I realized that I needed to become an entrepreneur and go on my own mission.
right? All about your happiness, right? And I completely empathize and understand that, because if you're not happy in what you're doing and you feel like your purpose is for something bigger, you definitely want to achieve that. And again, you're a family man. That's the added thing as well. Being happy and being able to take care of your family while being happy. It's very difficult to sort of, be happy with your family and you're in a job that you hate. It's going to reflect on everything else in your life. So I definitely agree with you on that. So for those of you who are listening, if you're thinking of doing something for yourself, do something that makes you happy. We're not telling you just go out and just leave your job. That's not what we're saying, right? Because at the end of the day, your job can actually help contribute to that dream that helps make you happy. So fund that dream, using the job that you have now. And then when you're at a point that you can safely say, okay, I'm ready to take that risk to just dive into that dream, then you can look at that job and say, you know what? I didn't like you and you really took a lot out of me, but you helped me to achieve this. And for that, I have a lot of respect for you. So you have a different mindset on, the job that you're in now when you're looking at what you really want to do in the future. So
You're right.
Josh,
So as you're doing that job, I think you have a bigger purpose to help a lot of people with this business you're going to start. But always remember that job, use that job to sharpen your skills. So at your job, you may be running the finances, or you may be running, the classes, or you may be, running the security or the IT. Just make sure that you remember those skills that you learned at your job, and transfer them to when you are starting your own business, because that's going to save you a lot of expenses on hiring experts, having those transferable skills. So I'm still very thankful for the jobs that I worked before, because I was able to transfer those skills into this new business.
Awesome. Excellent. Malika, can you take our question?
Yes. We all know being an entrepreneur isn't an easy road, and it's a lot of challenges, And the fact that along the way you had a newborn baby probably made it even harder, or even pushed you to become even more successful. So my question is, why did you agree at that time to be part of Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia?
So at that time, a lot of things were happening. I'd just gotten off of Shark Tank. My business had got viral with 12 million views on one of our videos, and I was having a kid. And I actually thought at that moment, when I was in a crossroads of my life, was the opportune time for me to have the best feeling and conviction to share my struggle and my successes with people. I feel that if I were to, stand in front of people and share my story now that our company is getting a little bit bigger, the hunger of me sharing the story would still be there to want to help people and give a great story. But I feel it would be a less exciting at the time that I wanted to give back and come back and speak and become a judge. That was the time when I was, going through so much that I was able to share fresh ideas of problems and issues and how I solved them. Now I'm a little bit further along, and I feel that the lessons that I would share is probably for a little bit more of a mature company. But at that time, I was you in these stages, so it was fresh to get those ideas out to help people really launch from an idea stage or from a beginning stage.
I think people kind of resonated with that day because of where you were at the time, and they now just coming up, being new to the program as well, being new to business themselves. So it was a connection that they really appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, Malika, can you take the next question as well, please?
Okay then. I guess it goes hand in hand with my previous question. So how has it, in participating in the Entrepreneurship World Cup, benefited you as a person?
Well, I feel fulfilled because I know that I go by a one rule, and it really was a 1% rule. Originally, I went by a 1% rule, which just means that try and improve yourself by 1% every day, and don't try and improve yourself by 100% because that's not feasible. You know, if you improve yourself by 1% every day, you think about an interest account on a bank account, exponentially, you can be 1,700%, I believe, at the end of the year if you just compound interest. And that was originally for my hustle in trying to really improve myself. But I also go by the rule of one, is that every year I want to be able to touch one person. Now, I may speak to 1,000 people or 5,000 people in a year, or my story may go out to millions on TV. But it's my goal that I want to see that one person goes from an idea stage to actually having a product or business in the year. So being a judge or being part of EWC allows me to really help with that social mission myself, saying, listen, if I can be a judge or speak to people and maybe there's 50 participants or 50 people listening, I would love to see at least one take it to the next step. And if we all had that mindset, all of us that are experienced, we could all just touch one person, and then we push them to have the same, give forward attitude is, just touch one person when you get to your mission completion. And then when they get to their mission completion, they try and touch one person. I mean, that creates a viral effect in itself. And, within 20 years, you may have millions of entrepreneurs just from the power of one.
I think that's what kinds of cripples entrepreneurs, or cripple the world at large, where people have been through the trials and the tribulations and have been successful, and they keep everything to themselves, not wanting to, train somebody else, not wanting to impact what they have learned on somebody else. Like they're seeing a young person trying to come up and falling down, and they refuse to, So I kudos to you on opening your heart to allowing other people to learn through your experiences and what you've done along the way to become a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, if you're a business that's trying to monetize on, really just trying to take the money of an entrepreneur who doesn't have much money already, it kind of bothers me, because if your whole sole mission is really to help and spread, the knowledge of your success, then you shouldn't keep that in. You shouldn't lock it in $100 book or a $10,000 class, because what that does is it separates out the people that have the opportunity to access. And I saw that in the GW, I saw that in the GW video that you played. We need to give access to the people who wouldn't have the money to access information. So information should be free, honestly, in this day and age. We shouldn't be locking it up. So now the rich people end up getting this information because they're privileged to pay $3,000 for a class. And then what ends up, everybody that can't afford that gets left behind. And those people that can't afford it, that are going through their struggles and questioning all these things in life, have the best inventions out there.
Yes,
so
yes, totally agree. Totally agree with you on that. Majority of the people, like you say, who has those brilliant ideas are those who are lacking in the financial, or maybe even the education of how to start those businesses. So I do say, even being part of this team that I wasn't a presenter, but I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I learned a lot from you just giving advice to the participants. It really helped me as a person as well. So
yeah, what Michelle has done over the years is amazing. She, along with having a family and carrying the burden of having more children, who are the new entrepreneurs. I don't even know if I could hold all that weight on my shoulders. So kudos to you, Michelle, and your team as well. But I see you growing and doing very nicely. And, I would wish that you get more support, whether it be from, colleges or universities or the government. They really need to tune into what you're doing.
Thank you for that plug-in. I'm hoping that through investors, they would realize the benefits of it. But hey, until then, we're gonna keep pushing and keep doing what we do because we love it, and we're all about empowering young persons. That's all what it's about. When time is ready, they'll find us where we are. But we're just gonna keep pushing and doing what we do. But just finally from you, Joshua, because I know you're busy and I know you have your own family to see about. I know you have the Cut Buddy, you have Truffletopia, you have things booming. You're on HGTV, you're on, you're in Walmart, you're in stores, and I'm seeing this bald cut, Bald Buddy. What is it? Can you tell us what's the name of that new product?
It's a bald buddy. We've invented a bald shaver, so you just shave your head with it, and we focused on an ergonomic handle so that it's easier for people to grasp and shave their head. We're always innovating, always asking those questions and solving problems as to what people struggle and how do we fix it,
Wow. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This man is always working on something, always working on something. So it's always great to see everything that he comes out with. We always show support when there's something that you come up with, and it's always about solving a problem. Now, that's something people need to understand. It's all good and well to do something or to come up with something, but it has to solve a problem, right? If it's not your problem, it has to be a problem-solving technique for like a lot of people, that are experiencing, and that's what makes it a money maker, right? So invest in yourself, invest in your business, but of course, please ensure that you invest in your knowledge first. Get that knowledge, get that know-how. It makes no sense going into a tank full of sharks and you have no clue how to swim with those sharks. Please.
Correct.
No pun intended. I wasn't talking about Shark Tango. No pun intended. No pun intended. But Joshua, I know you have to go, but can you give us just 3 takeaways, to share with our viewers on why they should participate in EWC for next year?
Yeah, so you might have to count them for me, but I'll just blab. It's very important to get the support that's needed for your business, as Michelle was saying and Malika. When I first started the business, entrepreneurship was still like a weird thing. We were labeling everyone entrepreneurs, but actual entrepreneurship support incubators and startup channels and things like Fredera and other programs that Michelle, that really wasn't a thing like 7 years ago. Right now, colleges are just now getting entrepreneurship programs and bachelor's degrees and masters. So it's important that you get involved in something where you can be nurtured on your skills, because when I started, I literally had to run through the flaming thorn bush. Like I'm running and getting scratched and trying to figure it out along the way, and I didn't have any help. I mean, now I can afford to, hire someone with better skills than me or get someone to mentor me. But before, they didn't have those options. So it's definitely important to go to school again and hone in on your skills. Another thing is in doing EWC, what you're doing is you're practicing your pitch for your business. You're honing in on what is that real purpose of your business, and then you're applying a call to action. When I say call to action, at the end of your pitch, you're asking, are you interested? We need $1,000. Can I follow up a meeting with you? Can you introduce me to someone? So being part of these kinds of programs teaches you how to really refine that elevator pitch, because sometimes you're only going to have 30 seconds to pitch to someone on an elevator, or you're going to have 3 minutes, or you're going to have a 4-hour pitch session where you're really going to have to know all your stuff. So being part of EWC and Subterra and stuff like that, that's going to get you ready for the real hard questions, because I've been in meetings and I haven't been ready. And I've watched these people just grill me with questions, and maybe I got 90% of the questions great answer, but the 10% of the questions that they ask, like, what are your financial projections for 5 years? What do you think your net income is? How are you going to cover your costs on manufacturing? What are you going to do as far as marketing on influencers? I mean, when they ask those kinds of questions and you don't have a full-on answer because you're not prepared, because you didn't take advantage of it, like a Sledterra EWC, and you might miss $1 million opportunity to get funded, or to gain a mentor, or to gain a partner, or to gain a new client. The last thing I would say, the reason why you should get involved in just in general helping your education in general is for the whole mental purpose of business. Is when you're not prepared, things like anxiety, depression, and sadness hit. You're not prepared, and you go into a pitch competition and you lose, you're going to go home and you might be sad. And those things weigh on you as much as you may not believe. And the problem why you may not believe it's weighing on you is because there's no way to really measure how sad or depressed or upset you are. It's easy to measure how long the cut is on your hand and how it's bleeding. It's easy to see that you need to go get a Band-Aid and care for it and think about, how do I not get cut in the future? But you can't see what's going on in your brain after you didn't get your way in a competition or you didn't get a client. So being part of a program that really sharpens your skills to answer questions is going to increase your success rate in winning. And that way your brain will be healthier and happier, and it will be clearer so that you can make more innovations or think more clearly to continue to grow the business. So that's the last thing, is really it's good for your mental health and preparedness. And it also prepares you for losing, because the people in Sledterra are going to tell you, maybe you should change this, or that's not going to work if you say that at a meeting. And you're going to be taking all the punches that you can, and you will learn about all the punches that you're going to be getting during meetings, and you'll be ready to block because you've taken these programs, and before they even finish the question, you'll know how to answer it. That's the best feeling ever. If you're taking a multiple choice test or a test at school and you're reading a question, you're like, man, I already know what the answer is going to be before you even finish reading the question. That's a great feeling of confidence. So I don't know if that was 3, but hopefully that covers it.
You definitely gave us 3 and more. And I'm hoping that everybody got those tips and are taking notes of it. And of course, will take advantage of it. But Joshua, I just want to say thank you again for joining us this morning, today on our symposium. And we just want to say goodbye to you and continue doing the great thing that you're doing. And we just love our family. So we're going to say goodbye to you. And of course, for those of you who are joining us on YouTube, who are joining us on LinkedIn, or joining us on Facebook, we just want to say thank you for joining us. You are watching the EWC St. Lucia Champions Symposium, a GEW event. We're celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week with our champions, with our judges. And of course, we have a champion amongst us. And he is actually the very first of our champions. Yes, he is the first. And this particular individual, when he entered the competition, there's so much that happened to him that catapulted his business, but there's nobody that can explain it best than he himself. But for those of you, again, like I said, if you have any comments or questions for our guest, please type them into the chat. Again, I'm your host, Michelle Samuel. I'm joined with Malika, my co-host. Wonderful job, Malika. I'm glad to have you with me, sharing this screen. Doesn't she look wonderful today, everybody? I think so. She does. Look at that smile. All right. So, Malika, we have our other guest in studio. As I stated, he is our first champion. Can you go ahead and tell everybody who it is that is joining us on now?
I think he's nobody new to St. Lucia, new to the game. And everybody have heard of Penny Pinch. Let's welcome him, Mr. Martin Hanna.
Woo! Welcoming Mr. Martin Hanna to the stage.
Hi,
All right,
good morning,
welcome,
everyone. How are
Martin.
you? Can you hear me?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh yes, we can you, Martin.
Okay, cool,
This
perfect.
I think this shirt is your signature shirt. I think that's your champion shirt. I really do believe that.
I
I think
definitely
every
think it
single
is.
time we have an event, or every single time we featuring you, we see that shirt. So that's your champion shirt.
You could say that. Hmm.
Yeah, so Martin, we know that you don't have much time, but you joined us out of your busy schedule just to share your experience as our very first champion, what EWC, was like for you. And we just want you to share a couple of things, when you are sharing your experience. We want you to tell people why you decided to take part in EWC, what has come out of it, how has it benefited you, and what would you say to other people, who are thinking about it and maybe not too sure whether they should participate for next year? So we're going to give you the stage to sort of take it away.
Sure. I mean, I'll tell you a story. I actually did not realize that I got approved to EWC only about a month before until I realized. I was like, okay, wow, this is great. I saw it was really interesting. I was like, okay, this is the first worldwide competition. So I applied to it early in 2019, and then when I ended up finding out, oh, I was actually approved, and we were getting flight over to Saudi Arabia for the pitch competition. It was definitely a game changer for me, travel wise, because it was definitely a really good experience. Visiting around. We were at the campus, and then we went into Saudi Arabia. But it was a really good experience. The interest was there for me. I was really into, at that time, I was a very small startup looking for funding. So I kind of saw this as not only the opportunity to try to get funding, but it was really more the experience of networking, meeting new people, and those valuable resources that they do give you that are not cash based. I could say I definitely use them up to today as well.
All right, and you heard this from Martin. Now, Martin, you gave the story of you were not aware that you had made it and so on and so forth. But can you give our viewers a more in-depth view of what the accelerator, program is like, and what that did for you? Because we're trying to tell people that this is not just a competition, it is also a learning program. So can you speak to that and tell them what that entails?
Yeah, so the initial sign up or application process, it was done really well. They ask you for a lot on your business, and that kind of helps them figure out who you are, and helps them build kind of the picture of your brand. Now the accelerator program, they partner with some good partners globally, where they're basically giving credits of all sorts for different platforms. I made use of probably about 100,000 US worth of cloud credits. So, getting servers on AWS and IBM. So I definitely made use of that. But there's tons of them, and I'm in the support chat up to today's date. They have a Slack chat that they put everybody in, so you get that huge network of people that you could access. You're able to speak with those partners that provide you those values perks. It's a long-lasting support system. I'm actually still in a WhatsApp group to this day, where just recently they posted a throwback video of 2 years ago, when we went up there to Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's a long-lasting support system, as you say, not really a pitch competition. The pitch competition is really there to kind of grill you down and teach you how it goes. I would say it's definitely a very tough competition, since it is on a global scale. So I don't really, I wouldn't say go there for the pitch competition. I would say to go there, try your best, and get judged by some really good judges, knowing that you're gonna come back a little bit smarter with a little bit more, knowledge and advice from mentors. Yeah.
Okay, so can you give us an idea as to the impact, EWC had on your company Penny Pinch?
Yeah, I definitely think the impact was really on the value added services. It really impacted the company, especially at that time when we were a startup. So funding was very, very little. So it really allowed me to kind of keep growing my business without all the huge expenses. Because even though they're not cash based perks, they're essential parts of your business that you apply on every day, and I think that really goes a long way. So we've been using that. We've been in contact with a lot of some of the mentors we've met, some of the businesses we've met over there as well. So it's impacted us in a small way, but very long term.
Right. And Malika, can you go ahead and ask Martin, our final question for the day?
The final question of the day. What three things can you advise our viewers about EWC? Me in particular, I want to know why and how did you find out about them and how it could benefit other people.
Yeah, I found out about them just, I think it was probably through LinkedIn. That probably, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think that's a very effective tool that all entrepreneurs should use. And I love to say that. So in terms of free, can you repeat the question again?
What three things can you advise our viewers about EWC?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a system that you should give a shot. Treat it that way, give it a shot, try to apply, and I believe, Michelle, you correct me if I'm wrong, even if you don't qualify for like the finals, you still get access to those perks and that networking
Yes.
community. So there's stages to this that you could start off, apply, and there's a lot of educational material as well that go really in depth into business that I think all entrepreneurs should have a basic understanding of. So not even it doesn't even matter if you don't qualify as a finalist, you still get some benefit of the community effect that EWC has kind of built over the last few years that still remains very strong.
Yes, you are very much correct, Martin. Those Anybody who applies, and I do mean anybody who applies, once they complete the application, they automatically get access to US $25,000 worth of books that you have been mentioning that they can use for their business.
Right.
Of course, that is if you complete and submit your application. but there is a process, right? Martin said that there's a lot of information that you're asked, but as you move through the process, you'll see the value of your books rising. So it
Yeah.
starts off at 1,000, and then as you enter more information, it goes higher and higher and higher. So you can, if you're satisfied with the $1,000 book with your, quarter way finished application, then and that's all you need, then fine. But advice to you is to go all the way, and you can use these perks for your business. Now, persons are asking what types of perks. We're talking about, access to Amazon and to some other,
So
to
it's a lot of
Google and to some other,
it's a lot of subscription based
right?
services that you would use as a business already. So if you're a tech business, you need servers, you use Google Cloud or Amazon Web Services. If you need support platforms for email, live chat, they have some good products. Or they even have a wide range of consultancies that you could use as well, and you get discounts from them. So it's very diverse.
Yeah, so you've heard it yourself. Again, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Martin, for joining us live today for our EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium. Martin was our first champion for 2019, and he was the only one who made it all the way to Saudi Arabia. My gosh, you were lucky. You were
Yeah,
blessed. You made it all
especially
the
like
way.
they have not done it physical ever since, right?
Since that's correct. You
Yeah,
were basically the only one who got to experience that. Look at how lucky he is. Look at
yeah.
how blessed he is. Since then, nobody else has been able to touch foot at the global finals, but Martin did. So, Martin, we just consider you as the trendsetter. We
Hmm.
look at you as the one, to look at, the one to watch for what's coming up next. And of course, you're
Hmm.
doing some amazing things with Penny Pinch. So, Martin, we're going to allow you to give some final words and tell persons how they can connect with you.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. Penny Pinch, as you know, is St. Lucia's first and only regulated mobile wallet. So you could follow us on social media, download our app, an Exporty app, try it out for yourself. See what the next way of doing payments looks like.
All right. And you've heard it from him. So connect with him, connect with Penny Pinch. Martin, please put the LinkedIn contact in the chat, and we will ensure to have it out there and post it to the public so that they can connect with you at a later
Mhm.
date. And then, of course, find out more about Penny Pinch and how they can become either a customer, a client, or whatnot on the app. All right. So again, thank you so much for joining us, Martin. We're going to say goodbye to you, and we're going to keep looking out for some great things from Penny Bench. All right. So, Malika, it's just us again, and
Yes.
it's been a great conversation so far. And there's been a lot of information shared, especially some great nuggets from Joshua, and also getting some really great story and encouragement from Martin. So I think there's a lot that can be said in terms of the context and the content of EWC and its place in our world right now, for our young people. Um,
I
but we're
have a
gonna
question
take
to I have a question towards that quickly. Um,
okay.
when you join the program, when you apply and you don't necessarily win, but you still get all the perks and everything, right? Would you
Mhm.
say that the perks is a way of allowing you to, grow yourself more to be able to be a better at like better at the next competition?
I would definitely say yes, because I think that because people come look at the competition, they look at EWC as just the pitch competition, and they believe that that is all that they need to work towards. Just enter, apply, see if I get through, if I get to pitch, and then once the competition is done, they're done. That's not how this program works. That's what we're saying. It's more than a pitch competition. What we're saying is that even before you get to the pitch competition, there is stuff that you have access to automatically. The perks that we're talking about, the value you can use that for your business even before the competition even begins. Now, when I say begins, I'm talking about when the actual timeline for when the competition starts. Then you know, okay, well, these are the finalists and they're competing. The finalists are competing and all of that. Let us say, if, for example, you're not in that pool, but you have access to things that you can use right then and there. There's training materials, there are videos, there are tutorials, and they're all geared towards educating you as an entrepreneur, you as a business person, and your business. And the way the training is structured is that it is tailored to idea stage, early stage, or growth stage. So whatever stage that you're at, based on your application, you will be assigned training that is specific to you, workshops that are specific to you, and the perks that you can use for your business at that stage. That's what we're saying. So the question that Malika asked is very, very valid, because people enter this thinking it's all about pitching and it's all about a competition. That's not all what it's about. That's the bonus. That's the bonus, right? You're getting training. And the thing is, it's an accelerator program that you're getting access to. It's called Accelerator One. So the Global Entrepreneurship Network has an accelerator program that you have access to as an applicant, just as an applicant, right? And then as you progress in the competition, then more gets added to you, and you earn more and you earn more. So even after the competition ends, you still have access to these accelerator workshops, and you still have access to the perks until the expiry date that each of them show you. So you can, this is what I'm telling you, everyone can benefit from this competition, from this program, everyone. And if you are lucky enough and blessed enough by God's grace to make it all the way to the finals, it just gets even more exciting and even better. That's what we're saying, right? Now, at this time, we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, now the break we're going to take is just a video that I'm going to play so that you can see or that you can get an idea as to who our judges were. Because, of course, we did mention that we have a really great lineup of judges, and they have been very supportive of the program. We have judges that had returned. We judges that had, during a stint of more than one occasion with us, and we cannot say thank you enough. Joshua has been on board from the beginning, and we've acquired some new judges this year. So in terms of the judges who have really championed and made the competition what it is in terms of being able to help us source out our champions, we've had Denel Florius. And Denel Florius, if you know him very well, he is the founder of Eco Carib. So he is one of our first judges from 2019. Okay. Then we also had Kwesi Roberts. Kwesi Roberts is also a returning judge. So Denel was with us in 2019, but Kwesi is a returning judge. So he's been with us for a while, right? And then we had Mr. Dr. Keith Nurse, who is the principal of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And as you know, they have the Gateway program, and they're really big on entrepreneurship. So for that main reason, he decided to participate as a judge for our 2019 competition. So he was one of our judges. We also had Miss Hannah Fitz. And as you know, Hannah Fitz is a powerhouse when it comes to entrepreneurship and branding and marketing. She is all about championing people and giving advice and all of that. And we really could not thank her enough for all of what she has been doing with us at Slanterra. She's a constant, partner and collaborator with us. And we just want to say thank you to her and to the other, judges, which we've mentioned. Now, we've said Joshua, we've said Kwesi, we've said Denel Flores, we've said Hannah. and we said Dr. Keith Noose. And we had some new judges that we added to the lineup. So I have a video that I'm going to show you, which is sort of our little, little break in the form of a video. We're going to show you who our judges were for this year. And when we come back from that video, we're going to talk about or show you the conversations that we've been having with our champions. We've heard from Martin, who's our first champion, and the next champions that you're going to hear from are our champions from 2020. Okay, because we only had one champion for 2019. Martin made it to the national finals. He was our finalist. Then he made it to the global finals as one of the top 100. He was also one of the top 10 in the region for the idea stage, in the world, sorry, for the idea stage. He made it to the top 10, and he made it to Saudi Arabia for the global finals. Though he did not win at the global finals, he still got an opportunity to network and to learn. And in 2020, we had two winners. We had a national finalist and a People's Choice champion. That national finalist also made it to the global finals. And of course, thanks to COVID, he could not go to Saudi Arabia. But, the competition took place virtually. And so we're going to be showing you a conversation that we had with our two winners from 2020. But I'm going to share my screen so that we can remind you if you were there before, and also introduce you, if you've never seen our judges for this year, who they are. And again, judges, if you're watching this, thank you so much for what you have done in terms of supporting the program and lending your expertise and your experience to us. We really, really, really appreciate it. So this is just, a thank you to you. And there you have it, a thank you and an ode to our judges for this year. We just want to say thank you so much for what you did for us and for the time and expertise that you shared and lent to the program for this year. So, Malika, we did something a little different this year with the competition. But before we get to that, we want to talk about 2020. Now, in 2020, COVID, that was when the time COVID was really starting to rampage us. My goodness, it was just relentless. There was just no way to escape it. It was just at everybody's door. And it was really hitting us where it hurts. And we're talking about our, highest income generator industry, which is tourism. It was hitting us hard. And because of the fact that we're so dependent on tourism and we have so many jobs that, the tourism industry has created, lots of people lost their jobs around that time. Lots of people were sent home. Hotels were closed down. The country was shut down. We felt it. The household felt it. The children felt it. It was being felt everywhere. We could not escape it. But as is customary with entrepreneurs, it tends to
You're
wake
right.
up something in us. And persons woke up and
Yes,
they
they
rose
did.
to the challenge that year. I mean, that year we had some applicants that came forward and really put it out there. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. I mean, they came from left, right, and center trying to solve problems that COVID brought to us. So, in effect, what they were saying is that COVID can't keep us down,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
COVID can't keep us down. And we are going to be, touching on those startups who, of course, that we are talking about. These are the startups who we really appreciate and applaud because they went above and beyond and they decided to do something amazing for us. Okay? So we're talking about Othniel Technologies, led by Isaiah Lord. We're talking about Daniel J. Charles, right, of Advanced Company Group. We're talking about Slister. Now, in case you were probably wondering, what do these companies do? So, Othniel Technologies is an app, and their tagline is imagine an app that makes travel great again. Imagine that. That was the tagline. Imagine an app that makes travel great again. An app that uses social media and mixed reality to reward you for enjoying yourself and sharing that experience with your contacts as you reignite the travel and leisure industry. This was Othniel Technologies' vision, led by Isaiah Lord. Did I not say that our people are coming up with some amazing things because of COVID? Did I not say that? Right?
Yes, you
And
did.
we also, sorry, Malika, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. And we also had Advanced Company Group. Advanced Company Group provided web and app based solutions for entrepreneurs and micro and small businesses, such as digital time clocks, digital invoicing systems, event service, and donation platforms for secure access. And they came up with that, again, solving problems. And then we had Slister, led by Charlene Cupid and her brother. That was a free online business listing service centered at offering the St. Lucian public a free, simple, and accessible means by which they can advertise and share their products and services around the country.
Wow.
Because we were shutting down and we needed something online to boost that. So Slister came up with that. Then we had Engage led by the team with Gillen Averill. They came up with MediTags, right? And the MediTags store basic medical information beforehand, and one scan would show the information on the reading device's screen, and in the event, they would need to share information with security or medical professionals. That was MediTags. That was basically the basis or the initial basis of MediTags. Again, addressing COVID and health issues. Then we had Different Dot, led by Team Andrew Robertson. And that provides SMS marketing and lead generation services for business persons. The main industries they were focusing on: retail, restaurants, medical offices. And these were the places hardest hit. And they came up with something for them. We also had Carib Quick ePay, okay, led by Antonio Rodriguez. That was a bill-paying ecosystem generated for the Caribbean that enables every citizen to pay their different bills under the same window.
Yes.
Everything without having to take a line, because of course we can converge on lines. Yeah. Then we had SAR biofuels. That was addressing an environmental issue. We have an issue with sargassum seaweed on our beaches. Well, not all of our beaches, but some of our beaches. And at the time, it was bad. Community members were complaining about the stench after the sargassum would sit on the beach for days, rot, and then just have this stench, again, keeping people indoors. Right? Already, the hotels are closing up, and now the people can't even come out to even enjoy the beach. Now that was just like insult to injury, and that what they did was that they turned the sargassum seaweed into biofuel, and that team was led by 16-year-old at the time Amber Rose Harris. Then we had Wick Express led by Team Denny Louis, right? Who came up with this shuttle service for visitors to use helicopter charter, right? As a way to get them from one place to the next, right? From one place to the next a lot quicker. And also water shuttle service. Now, the way it works is that they will provide water shuttle service to visitors, let me correct myself, utilizing the helicopter charter. Okay? And the water shuttle service will provide them with a competitive price to the taxi rate. So that was something he came up with. Then we also had Eco Creations, led by Team Donna Hyacinth. And again, another environmental solution for unwanted clothing just being dumped. We call that textile waste. And what she came up with was to upcycle the clothes that you would have thrown away. And she makes it fashionable. And she does a really good job of it too. A really good job of it. So this is what came out of 2020. They were solving actual problems that were happening at the time. And two of them emerged as winners. One was our national finalist because he pitched something at the time that we needed. And the second one won because she won the hearts with her innovation and because of her age and how in tune this young girl was to the business environment and the concept of what she was doing. So the two champions we had for 2020 was Mr. Gillen Avril of Engage with his Meditags and Miss Amber Rose Harris with Sabio Fuels. They were our two champions. And we cannot thank them enough for what they did, what they came up with. And Malika, I mean, you were there, you basically were in the audience watching this whole thing unfold at the time when they entered. Can you share with us what you thought when you saw them pitch? I mean, they made it to the finals. When you saw them go head to head, what did you think about their presentations and the product that they came up with?
The first thing I would have thought that the judges had a hard decision to make, because the passion that they sold about their business and, like the problem that they were solving and how they feel that it would have impacted Lucia during COVID, it was just amazing. I could just sit back and watch them talk for the whole day. It was quite interesting to watch.
I agree with you. And what did you think specifically about Meditags? Because he was really addressing a problem that we were experiencing. We had an issue with persons coming in, visitors coming in, to the country. How do we keep track of them? And
yes.
Also, in case of emergencies, and somebody would have, passed out or fainted or something would have happened to them, how would the the EMTs know what to do? How would they know if that individual has any pre-existing conditions, to avoid certain things that may have been used that would have caused a further issue and a potential, malpractice suit from, happening, right? So can you, share what you thought about that product that Gillen came up with?
To me, that was technology at its best. Trying to put technology and heart together. Like the fact that he was so I guess how I say, he cared about the effect that COVID would have on people. So being able to track people that come to St. Lucia, especially those maybe that left quarantine or in quarantine, would set us, how would I say this? Would make things easier for us, knowing that, to track somebody through what they say, like when if somebody has COVID and they're tracking them, the people that they've been with and where they've been. Because I think as well it shows location, right? It shows where they are at the time. So that was big on technology.
All right, so thank you for sharing that, Malika. So what we're going to watch right now, we're going to watch the interview, that discussion that, I sat down with Gilland and, we had this conversation. We had to pre-record this, as I stated, because of time constraints and, conflicting schedules. So this is the conversation which I had with Gilland. I was joined with my team member, our recent team member from Slatera, Marvin Grant, who, of course, sat in and chimed in whenever, he felt necessary. But we're going to now look at that conversation. So you're going to see for yourself who Gillen Avril is. You're going to hear about his product. You're going to hear what he came up with. And you're also going to hear what's he working on now, because he's always working on something new. So I'm just going to bring this up and so that we can see this conversation that we're having with Mr. Gilland Avril. All right, I'm going to share my screen and then we're going to take it from there. This is our conversation, or my conversation, with Mr. Gilland Avril of Engage. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back again to our EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium. I'm again your host, Michelle Samuel, and I have with me one of our champions who emerged winner in the year 2020. Now, before we bring him on, I just want to again I want to remind all of you that the EWC competition happens every single year, and it's for the brightest minds doing the most innovative things, the most inventive things to solve our everyday problems. And for our theme for GEW this year, we're talking about inspire, connect, mentor, and engage our nation's youth. And this winner is one of our youth. Don't mind the age, we're still young. And as we're young, we are making strides, we're making impact. And this is one of the things that our winner will be doing, or will be talking about, his venture and what this venture is doing. Amazing, amazing things. Now, this partnership is with the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce for GEW for this year. And we are so very glad to be able to champion and to showcase our entrepreneurs in such a platform. And this morning, I want to welcome all of you who are watching via our social media channels. Thank you for joining us. I know you're busy, but whenever it comes the time for us to give our flowers and give our props and give the credits to the people who are impacting our community and our island economy, we have to give the time. And I want to thank you for joining us. And I'm going to now briefly introduce our next interview. Now, this particular individual, I've known him for a couple of years. He is no stranger to the competition realm, no stranger whatsoever. Many of you may even have seen him so many times that you may not even be surprised to see his face now. Now, the reason that we are interviewing him is because he has an actual working product that is solving actual problems, today, present day problems. And we're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about, livelihoods lost. We're talking about not being able to do certain things, not being able to go certain places, and so many restrictions. But can you imagine having or not having the knowledge or not having the know-how of what to do in case of an emergency? In case of typical emergency situations, what is in place for that? And this young man figured it out. He created something that not only comes in handy in medical situations, but comes in handy in situations where persons may not even be aware, okay, if in case I take a fall, if in case I fall sick, it may not necessarily be COVID, but how would you know what my underlying medical conditions are? We tend to hear that a lot when we hear the reports or read the articles about persons either getting sick or persons either passing away due to underlying medical conditions. Can you imagine what different type of assistance can be offered to these people if they were aware immediately of what their underlying medical conditions were? Total different change in the game as to what that treatment could be like. So for this individual, we are going to talk to him about this venture that came out on top in the year 2020. And I am speaking of none other than Mr. Gillen Avril. Mr. Gillen Avril, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm fine. I'm doing well.
All right, excellent. Now, of course, you heard the intro that I gave you in the beginning, but persons know you in the competition realm, right? Of course, you have friends and family and colleagues that know you, are very familiar with the work that you do. But for persons who do not know you or are not familiar with you, we want to get them to know who you are as an individual. So outside of the inventor, the innovator, and the entrepreneur, who is Gillen Avril? That's my first question to you.
Well, first of all, most persons know me for in business competitions that I do, but I think a lot of persons know me for Carnival. I think that's one of the biggest things a lot of persons know me for, being a costume designer and builder. I think I've been doing this for 18 years. So aside from all the technology, there's the creative side to me. So I've actually been designing costumes both locally, regionally as well. So that's the other side of Gillen, the arts Gillen.
Okay, so that's the creative and the arts Gillen, right? So Gillen, I mean, we are sort of, empowering and talking about youth with this theme and these activities that we're having for GEW, for this week. So give us an idea, what's your age range like? I mean, you may not want to say your exact age, but where exactly do you fall when you talk about youth? What category do you fall in?
I'm 36. There's no problem. I have no problem saying my age. I'm 36. And for me, I've been involved with the youth and been involved with stuff from an early age, I think early 20s, thereabout. So it's been at least 15 years I've been involved. I've been doing stuff through the chamber with junior achievement. I've done stuff on my own. So I've really been involved in this whole youth movement and trying to get innovation going instead from a young age, from the primary school level all the way up. So I'm not a stranger to this at all.
Yes, and of course we did mention that initially, but there is a lot of, I would say, there's a lot of things that are being held back for people that fall outside of the 35 age group, because a lot of the initiatives and the opportunities that are being held, especially in country, tend to sort of cap off at 35. So once you're 35, you're no longer considered to be youth. But what if you are someone who is your age 36 years old and over, and you have come up with something that actually solves a problem? And the policymakers don't allow or don't provide us with that platform where we can have access to these grants and funding opportunities that can encourage, these innovations and inventions that persons such as yourself come up with. How do you, address something like that? What do you say to something like that to get the attention of our policymakers?
Well, one of the things I've been always advocating for locally, I think we need incubators. I think that might be a next way to actually get my knowledge passed on to other persons. Because I've always been one of the persons where I'm never shy to hold my idea to myself. And I don't believe in that holding my idea to myself. I'm always willing to share my idea with anyone and listen to any other young entrepreneurs who have ideas. So for me, it's really key to having a platform, whether it be, and I think that's why I take part in competitions. It's not even a matter of winning the competitions. It's really to let persons see that there are ideas, brilliant ideas coming from St. Lucia. I mean, like what you said, the project that I won last year with, I mean, when I pitched persons internationally, said, hey, why not do this in my country? So I'm saying this is the type of things that I would want for persons to see. A brilliant idea can come from St. Lucia that can rival anything on the international market. So when you cap things at 35, ideas don't stop at 35. There's still persons who come up with things along the way. So so that's one of my issues I've always had, that youth is 35, but sometimes youth is 40. Then the next thing you see 45. So it's up and down sometimes based on what project you're doing. It changes, fluctuates. So I mean, for me, it's always, I'm as young as I feel. So even if I'm 36, I still feel like I'm youth. So for me, it's really to get the ideas out there, let persons know that there are brilliant minds here, and it shouldn't stop at 36 or 35. At any age, someone can come up with a brilliant idea. It's just a matter of platforms. We need to create a platform, the avenues that persons can actually showcase these ideas, and which is why I'm supportive of the initiative that you do, because it's not limited to sometimes any age range or gender. Anybody with a brilliant idea can actually take part in some of the things that you do, and then can be exposed, and they could get themselves exposed to the wider public and the world at that.
I definitely agree with you there. Now let's just transition a little bit more, from you, you as a youth and what it is that you're doing. But of course, we haven't mentioned yet what it is that you're doing. So let us transition into the story. I mean, you as an individual, you as a young man, what propelled you or what motivated you to become an entrepreneur and to then found your company called Engage?
I don't think I had a choice, to be honest. From the age of 11 or 12, I discovered a heart condition that I had, and that had always played an issue with me and how I performed at school, because there'd be moments I would be sick because I'd have palpitations, and then I would be down for a certain amount of time, be on medication. So I never saw myself having a typical 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 job like everybody else. For me, there's always been an early mindset. You need to work for yourself. You need to find something that you're passionate about and, explore it. And I've had several ideas along the way that I've dealt in, from the artistic side of me to more technical side of me. But this one was close to me because, again, me having a heart condition, and like you said, what would happen? I used to black out a lot. So how would if I blacked out, how would someone know what was wrong with me, who I was? So this.
And we come to the end of this snippet of our interview with Mr. Gillen Avril. Now, of course, we cannot show you the full interview here on the Symposium. It was just a little intro into it. So we're going to tell our viewers to please, if you want to see this full interview with Mr. Gillen Avril and to hear more about his condition and how this device is helping him and helping others, and what he's working on now, I advise you to check out the full interview on our YouTube and Facebook channels. We're going to be posting it there later, so look out for that. If you want to see it, be sure to follow the Facebook page to get the notification when it's posted, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can also get it when it is uploaded. Malika, what did you think of that interview? The little snippet that we saw.
It was just getting good and you just cut me off. I mean, like, I'm getting closer to my screen trying to figure out, okay, like, how did he come up with that idea and why? And you're like, okay. But
I
yes,
know, right? I know, but as with everything, we can't just spoon feed everybody and just
yes.
give it all to you. We give you a little bit of it, and we're going to encourage you to watch the rest of it on our channel. The interview is roughly about 21 minutes in duration, like the full interview, a little over 20 minutes. So you will get to actually hear firsthand, from Gilland what this product was developed for and what he's working on now. Now, Medica, we are coming into the next interview. Can you please tell everybody who it's going to be?
The next interview is Miss Amber Rose Harris.
That is
Um,
correct, Miss Amber Rose Harris.
I feel
With
that
Wells.
breaking up.
Oh,
Hello.
sorry, I didn't hear you, Malika.
Okay. I was just saying this particular young lady is one of our success stories as to how networks actually work. To know that where she started from and where she is today, and all the programs that put together that jumping from one to the next because of connections and networks and getting to know people. That's for me that's a success story. Whether the business starts or not, it's already a success story. So let's
I
listen to Miss
agree
Amber
with
Rose.
you. I agree with you. So we are going to watch the next interview, a snippet of it. We're going to watch the next interview of Miss Amber Rose. And like I stated before, if you want to watch the full interview, you need to follow our Facebook page, Sludterra, and our YouTube channel as well, so that you can see when it is uploaded, so that you can be the first to see it. And we definitely want you to comment on it and let us know what you think about the interview, and any comments and questions you would have had for our champion. We will definitely share your comments and questions with her or with them. So our next champion, Miss Amber Rose Harris of Salbario Fuels, our 16-year-old genius. We're gonna hear from her right now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Michelle Samuel, and I am your host for tonight's session. And if you are just joining us, you have joined us on our EWC St. Lucia Champions Symposium, where we are connecting with our champions of the Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia, the young individuals that are using innovative means of solving today's solutions, which could be tomorrow's promising ventures and companies, which could actually contribute to our economy. Our youth are doing some amazing things. And this event is part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week celebration of activities in collaboration with the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce for this year, 2021. I am so glad that you have remained with us. And we have a very special guest that we're going to be talking with today. She is one of our champions, and you're going to get a little bit of a backstory as to how she got started with this venture. You're also going to learn what propelled her to enter the Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia competition, and of course, what she's doing now and what we can expect from her in the future. So I am going to call upon or bring on stage my special guest, and her name is Miss Amber Rose Harris. Welcome, Amber Rose, and how are you doing this evening?
Good evening, I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I mean, my time frame is completely off these days. So good morning. It may be evening, in some other places of the world who may be watching us, but it is morning here in St. Lucia. So today, Friday. So Amber Rose, as I stated before, you are a very bright, young and shining star. And we want our viewers to sort of get to know who you are, especially if they have never seen you before, heard of you before, and if they've never seen the event where you competed. We want to let them get to know who you are. So let's start with that. So my first question to you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Amber Rose? And then we'll get into the business side of things. So let's get to know you as an individual. So who is Amber Rose? That's my first question.
Okay, so like you said, my name is Amber Harris. I am currently 17 years old. I just graduated from the US Comprehensive Secondary School. As of right now, I am unsure of what career I would like to go into in the future. Um, but I know that it's something health-wise in terms of helping other people to overcome their disabilities, sickness, that kind of thing. Currently, I don't attend school. I took a gap year because I'm still very young compared to other children who left school together with me. I just turned 17 this month. So I am currently taking a gap year to just kind of decide what I want to do, where I want to go to just have a solid idea of what really inspires me to move forward. Um, Personality wise, I would say I am very goal oriented. I am passionate about what I do, what I love. I am very passionate. I am kind of said I love to help others.
Okay, so you've given us uh, a synopsis of who you are and what it is that you're about. And you mentioned something that caught my attention, and I'm going to start off with that. So you said that you recently graduated from the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School, and as a recent graduate, of course, as we all know who have been in your shoes, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on you as to the question, what next? What are your plans for the future? And I know these are questions that even you yourself, may have asked while looking in the mirror or looking around you and, potentially looking at what's going on, especially now in the economy with the pandemic going on. What do I do next? So it is a very fitting question to ask, and I'm actually happy that you were honest enough to say that you're not sure what direction you are to go into. But let's take a look at something that you said. You said you're passionate. You're passionate. You love to help people, and that came across when I first met you. In 2018. Many years ago. That came across definitely. And at that time, you were still, at the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School. And when I first came into the school, my intention was to introduce a venture, a project of sorts, to the students, to the entire school body, um, for anyone who would have been interested to participate in this venture. But it wasn't just a venture for you to participate in and just have fun. It was also a venture that was a problem solving venture. And it definitely did speak to helping the environment because it was an environmental issue that we were battling at the time. And I want to find out from you when you first heard about this venture, and we're going to, of course, share with the viewers very soon what that venture is. When you first heard of this venture, what struck you to say, I want to do this or I want to be a part of this? Why did you come forward and sign up for it?
Okay, so that was 2018. We came to the school in 2016. I found it to be very interesting, and I'm somebody who likes to be challenged. I like to take on challenges and see what I can get out of it if I can come to something new, come to a new solution or something of that sort.
I don't think you're what?
And growing up from
You
primary
didn't
school,
realize that I
always
have not
used
seen
to
yet for the morning, right?
taking part in science fairs and these kind of activities, anything where I had to build or just make stuff just to make something. I remember as a toddler, my mom always used to say she's not buying any more stuff for me because I would find screwdrivers around the house and I would open each and every single toilet and just try to put it back together. So I have always been one to just take up a challenge. So I thought,
Deidre,
this is
you
something new,
cannot stay
something
there
I
like
haven't
that.
seen before because inside bench or
Look,
like within my bed, like a volcano with
take
vinegar
out the
liquid.
sausage
So I
from
found it to be
the
something
freezer.
different, something that could really challenge my mind. So I thought,
You
why
cannot come
not
there. You cannot
try
come
to
there.
enter, see what you can come to, and the
It's
fact that
nice
it
because
was
I'm
necessary
staying
for
in
your
the.
idea to be an invention and not something that has already been done before was even more challenging to me because I'm like, okay, what can I do? Something that has not been done, somebody has not thought of before. So it was very, very challenging, very motivating for me, something fresh that I could have done.
Excellent, excellent, Amber Rose. Thank you for sharing that. And of course, the venture that I am referring to, that we're going to share with you, is where the story is going to begin, and that is with the next big inventor competition. Now, for those of you who do not know, the next big inventor competition is the brainchild of our very own St. Lucian-born, US-based inventor and entrepreneur, the Cut Buddy owner, and that is Mr. Joshua Esnard. It was his baby. It was his way of trying to give that was an issue that was plaguing our beaches, plaguing our shores. It was really, really, really interfering with our tourism industry because of the fact that when this thing sits on the beach, it has a stench, a rancid stench that would chase persons for miles. The residents were complaining, so far less for our visitors. And we challenged these young students of the Leon Hess Secondary School. That's where the pilot project was selected to be held because it held a near and dear place to Joshua Esnard's heart, as do mine because I'm a past student. I'm an alumni of Elite CSS, and we wanted to use this as a pilot project to allow the Leon Hess students to showcase their talents and skills. Thankfully, we had the endorsement of the Ministry of Education at the time, who came on board with us and supported us in this venture to allow the students to participate. So, Amber Rose, we're going to start here. This is where your story began. So, at this point in time, you knew that there was a competition. You knew that it was dealing with sargassum seaweed. I am going to allow you to have the screen to take on the stage and to share with us, what drove you to create what you created with the sargassum. What was the vision, the motivation behind it? The vision, that you saw when creating it, and just give us an idea as to what it was like in the competition, and then we will move on to when you then transitioned into EWC. So, Amber Rose, you have the floor. Please share with us that journey on NBI.
Okay, so I took part in NBI when I was in Form 3 at the time. To me, it was an ideal time. Form 3, you are fully accustomed to the school, the workload, everything. You're not quite into CXC as yet, writing exams and having to study day and night. So it was a really an ideal time for me. So my team and I joined the competition with two other students who in my class. So we thought of what we could have done with Savas seaweed. And I mean, we searched Google, searched, spoke about it for days with no clue what to do because Google, the ideas we got, like food from seaweed and these kind of things, were not really something that really appealed to us or challenged us in the way that we wanted to. So we decided we could try to do biofuel from seaweed. And the idea started to come. Why biofuel? We know global warming right now is an issue, and biofuel is the fossil fuels we use right now basically contributes a whole lot to global warming. And our biofuel is like a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels. So it was, we wanted to not only be able to impact the world in one way by making an innovation, but we wanted to have a positive impact not only with our innovation, but with on global warming and other issues that the world is facing.
And there you have it, the snippet of the interview with Sar Biofuels and Miss Amber Rose Harris, a past student of the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School. Malika, what did you think about, you know, her journey and her vision? What she mentioned in the interview question. You're on mute.
Sorry
There
about
you
that.
go.
Like I said previously before her interview, that her journey started again through a collaboration with Joshua Esnad, the biggest heart, and Splatera, Michelle, Samuel, even bigger heart. So just, like, I feel she joining that competition would be a way for her to actually know her way forward if she really wants to be an entrepreneur, if she feels that's, a career or something that she wants to put forth. Yeah, being passionate about what she does and helping people, the EWC would be a way for her to learn and grow and, know a little more about herself as a person.
I agree. And I really did, it really did have an impact on me when she said that. At this time, she's really not sure,
Yeah.
what she really wants to do. Because remember, before she actually left school, she was sure of what she wanted to do. She literally said that this is what she wants to do. She said that she wants to do this full time. That's what she said. So something may have happened which caused that shift. And I am going to make an assumption and say it may be COVID. And because COVID really did put us through a shift, right? It shifted a lot of things for us where we would have had certain plans, you know, we really had to cancel those plans and understand that hey, this no longer works. We need to pivot, we need to shift. So this pandemic, shifted this young, bright, entrepreneur. Her focus was on this is what I want to do full time. And then with COVID now bringing things into the forefront, I mean, remember she's a minor, so her parents may could have said things like this is not the time for this, especially if their jobs were impacted or their livelihoods were impacted. The last thing they want to hear is you going off into something that they know there's no guarantee of
Yeah.
income coming in. So that would have put a hold back onto that dream of hers. She was all adamant about registering the business and going full force and all of that, but then there were still challenges. As a minor, minors cannot register businesses in St. Lucia. And even though we are saying to them, share your ideas, build things, create things, there's no policy that allows them to register their business at a young age and to say that I have a fully fledged business that can, legally make an income in the country and then contribute. This is a business that could contribute to her studies, furthering her studies, furthering her, the benefit of her tertiary level education or professional education. And of course, helping to take some, ease off of the back of her parents. Who knows what could have happened? So this is just one of the type of conversations, we would have with regards to policymakers and them, I would say, taking out a lot of the red tape that would prevent people like Amber Rose from really prospering when their vision is to be an entrepreneur. So that's just my take on it. So if you are just joining us, you're watching the Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia Champion Symposium. And this is a GEW event as part of the activities and celebration in St. Lucia. This event is being hosted by Slud Terra, who is the implementer of EWC here in St. Lucia. And I am Michelle Samuel, your host, with my co-host Malika Amadi. And we are sharing with you the interviews with our champions. We've heard from our judge, Mr. Joshua Esnard. We've heard from Martin Hanna, our 2019 champion. We saw an interview or the snippet of the interview from Gillian Averill and a snippet from Amber Rose Harris. Malika, please let them know who that they're going to hear from next.
Ooh. Okay, this young lady to me is a picture of resilience. None other than Kezia Peter from company 360.
Imagine that. That is who we're going to hear from next. So if you've never heard the name before, as in Kezia Peter, now you will know the name. If you've heard of the name before, whether it be Kezia Peter or 360, you're going to hear from her next. She is our 2021 champion in more ways than one. More ways than one. She's not just the national finalist. What other title does she hold, Malika?
Oh my gosh. I think every competition in St. Lucia.
This girl not only came out as the national finalist, she also copped the People's Choice Champion as well. So she holds 2 titles at EWC St. Lucia for this year. And I sort of touched on it a little before, and we're gonna touch a little bit about it after the interview. But we did something different this year because we wanted to showcase our startups in all their glory. But we're going to share a little bit about that after this interview. And this interview, as I stated, is a pre-recording. You're only going to see a snippet of it, but you can watch the full version on our YouTube and Facebook channels. So now we have our interview with 360. And this event is hosted by Slud Terra, and I'm your host, Michelle Samuel. And I'm going to bring on my special guest, Miss Kezia Peter. Let's say good evening and hello to her. Hello, Kezia. How are you doing?
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm fine, thank you.
It's great to see you all smiles. So, Kezia, I, of course, mentioned earlier that you are our most recent addition to our champion lineup. But before we get into that particular story, in case persons have never heard of you, have never seen you, we want them to get to know who you are, first of all. So let's get to know, who is Kezia? Can you tell us what makes you you? Tell us you as an individual. We're not talking about a businesswoman, not as an entrepreneur, but you as a woman and as a person. Who is Kezia?
Well, honestly, there's not much to know on. I'm Kezia, 27 years of age. I have 3 beautiful kids, and I was raised in Schumel and was recently introduced into the entrepreneurship environment, and have been loving it from since then.
Loving it. I like that. You've been loving it. That is a great way to sort of start the whole, interview, because we're going to be talking about what prompted you to get to this point. Because, of course, there must have been something that you noticed, something that was happening or something that was lacking that prompted you to become an entrepreneur? Because you were not always an entrepreneur, right? So there must have been something that happened along the way that caused you to become one. But you are a mother, wonderful children, 3 wonderful children, as you stated. You don't look like a mother, by the way. I'm just saying, do not look like a mother at all. So kudos to you on whatever it is that you're doing. Kudos to you.
Oh, thanks. I think it's from the genes.
You must send me a pair of those jeans. Oh, you mean the DNA, right? Okay, so
Yes.
that DNA. Okay, well, I don't have that, unfortunately. I wasn't blessed to have those types of genes. But let's talk a little bit about the transition. So you're a mother. You are, taking care of these wonderful children. And then something along the way happens. There's this shift from you just being a woman and a mother to you becoming an entrepreneur. And let's start from last year, because you applied for this professional training program and you entered with this particular startup. I mean, it was something that persons had not really seen before. It was not experienced before here, per se. I mean, we talk about technology, but in terms of the experience didn't exist at this point here, but you brought this to us. And of course, seeing that you were a fresh face in the group, persons were really curious to see what this thing was all about. So can you please tell us a little bit about what prompted you to join this professional training program that you did last year?
Well, honestly, last year, with the whole pandemic and COVID and everything like that, I used to create and produce clinical costumes and everything like that. But because of the pandemic, I lost my job. And at that moment, I was pregnant, working from home and everything. And then I got this opportunity through reality program where, they train people to be entrepreneurs, to train you to how to start up your business and everything you should know about starting up your own business. And that is where I decided to educate myself on that, being home, pregnant, not having anything much to do, That's what really inspired me to try to do something else with my life.
Okay, and I like the fact that you said you had to do something with yourself, not just sit around and just complain, I lost my job, I have kids to take care of. I mean, most persons would say, what am I going to do? Constantly ask themselves, what am I going to do? And especially being pregnant, like, who's going to hire a pregnant lady, right? So you're probably wondering, but what is my next step? But your next step was the alternative to finding employment. And that is usually the step that people don't usually think about. And that's what you went down. So you applied for Dream to Reality. You did the training. And did you graduate, by the way?
Yes, I did. I think so.
Now we're sort of playing, cat and mouse with our viewers right now. Playing cat and mouse. But Kisia did actually graduate. Not only did Kisia graduate, she actually became the face of the 2021 campaign for the training program. That is how well she did. And that was an award that she received because of her accomplishments. And we're getting into those accomplishments right now. So Kisia, you did the Dream to Reality training. You graduated. You got your certificate. And I do recall you kept doing courses. Like you didn't you just kept doing courses. Like, how many courses did you do after you completed Dream to Reality?
I think I did about 8 more courses.
Wow. You did 8 more courses. Oh, wow. I mean, that was some time you had to kill. You were hungry, man. My goodness. 8 courses. So you did a total of 9 professional courses in order to educate yourself, to place yourself in a position where you could now do something, and make an impact. And the name of your startup, 360, and it was an amazing product. I myself got to try it out one time when we had our networking session, our closing session for the class. I got to try it out, put it on, and see what the experience was like. most persons would say feel. I say feel and see. I got to see the experience. I got to feel the experience. It was amazing. And I'm still looking forward to doing more and more and more sessions like this year. So
Definitely.
you did these 8 courses, these 9 courses, I should say. You educated yourself. And now you have in your pocket 9 certificates and the knowledge of what to do and how to run a business and how to get, and how to get started. What was your next step? What did you do after that? What did you go into?
Well, I heard of the international idea pitch competition. In fact, before that, I did participate in a hackathon that they was having. That is where I came up with the other product that I had, the VT backpack. You know how to gain COVID. We had like a few hours to come up with something, something less on a low budget, in this time, how we can come out and do something. But that is where VT Backpack came about, in the hackathon. And then after, I decided to participate in the national idea pitch competition.
So you just kept moving, man. You went from just the 360 goggles, and then you went to a VT backpack. I mean, you were just adding things to your belt. You were just like fitting things and just getting ready to just step out there.
Coming up with new ideas as I go along, yes.
Wow. And all this, being pregnant and just having kids and all of that, I mean, that's amazing. That's commendable. That is truly commendable. But can you tell us, did you face any challenges though, as a woman entrepreneur? And as a young woman, I mean, you had several things stacking up against you. Young, woman, entrepreneur. Typically, these 3 things do not go together in a sentence. Plus pregnant. Let me just add that part. Young, woman, entrepreneur, pregnant. You had these 4 things going against you. And how were you able to still manage all of this? Being a young woman entrepreneur who was pregnant, how did you manage?
Honestly, I couldn't have done it alone. I couldn't have. It was like, seriously, there are times I would feel like giving up, with have been pregnant, being emotional and stuff like that, having to deal with, taking these courses, trying my best to educate myself, having my partner, Gillian Avril, who supported me so much, more than I can thank him for. Whenever I feel like giving up, you'd obviously push me. I had you, of course, Michelle, never forget you. Always continuously, pushing me, believing in me and stuff like that. So I thank you all so much for that. And that is why I keep on telling people that they should definitely surround themselves with persons like you, because trust me, when the stuff gets going, or whatever the thing is, when going gets tough.
Stuff get going, yeah.
It is, no income, just there, you have to rent a job, you have to come up with ways to make money, it's it is.
Wow, I could only imagine how tough it was for you, because I mean, I'm a mother. At the time when I started with entrepreneurship, mother, unemployed. I wasn't pregnant, but I mean, I had my kids with me everywhere that I went. So wherever I went, I had to take them with me.
Bring them, yeah.
It was a struggle, trying to sell while having kids there, because sometimes it's a deterrent because they hate the noise and all of that. It gets really noisy and there's a lot of commotion. It's not the right type of environment to attract business customers. But hey, that was my situation, and I made the best of it. I made the thankfully, by the grace of God, because I'm a believer in God, and I'm a Christian, I was able to do it through Him. I mean, if it wasn't for God, I would not have been able to make it through that. I would not have been able to do it. So I know that God was with you, Kissia. I know that
all the way. So
All right, and we are back, and definitely we are going to be hearing a little bit more from Kisia in the full interview, which you can watch on our YouTube and Facebook channels. So these were our champions. Yes, we have literally counted down from the top, well, from the first to the last, as to who our champions were. Malika, can you give them a recap as to who our champions were from 2019 to 2021? You're muted.
Always. um, we had Martin Hannah. We had Glenn Averill, the young Miss Amber Rose, and the resilient Miss Kizia Peter.
That's right. So this is the countdown of our winners. Now, these are our champions. Now, when I say champions, it means that they made it to the national finals, or they copped the title national finalist, which is an award that only the judges can give them. And the People's Choice Champion, which is the people, you, the audience, you watching, that's the title that you gave them because you voted for them. So this year was the first year we had a double whammy. Well, not a double whammy, but we had one person copying both titles. We had Kisia Peter taking both titles home, and that was a surreal experience. I wish you could have seen the ceremony. You know, I wish you could have seen her face when she saw that she had won both titles. You should have seen her face. She's like, what, you have the right person? Like, really? What? Like, she was in total shock. And I have a photo of Kisia, you know, with her awards. I'm going to just bring it up really briefly so that you can see, you know, her holding her awards, because she was so much in shock. Oh my gosh, really? She was even in shock. It's Kisia was her real name. Like, she was that lost. She was that lost, and you can tell in the picture that it was a surreal feeling. She was still in shock. She was like, "Oh my gosh, this is me. I won this." Yes, this is Kisia, right? This is Kisia, you know, holding her trophies and her certificate and her checks. So in terms of the national winner, the national finalist, as you can see here, what she won was US $31,900 worth of perks from local and regional partners. And at the bottom here, she also won US $100,000 worth of perks from global EWC partners. And you know, that was a surreal moment for both for both her and her partner Gillen, because Gillen won last year and he was around to see her win this year. And we call them the power couple at the ceremony. You know, at the prize ceremony, we call them the power couple, because now we have both the guy and the girl, both copying titles, winning left, right, and center. And when Malika mentioned that Kisia was winning everything, what she means is that Kisia had participated in the lantern competition, you know, the lantern competition that we had this year in a partnership with the Taiwan Embassy. Kisia won and won that too. And she didn't win just one, she won two. My goodness. I mean, this just shows the creativity that, you know, that is synonymous with Kisia. And that also shows you, audience, that we are creatives by nature. Us St. Lucians are just creatives by nature. I think even though we are dabbling in different industries, the core at heart, the talent at heart is creative. That's who we are. We are creatives. And I do believe that if we really look at ourselves closely, the biggest industry is us and the creative industry is our biggest industry. That is just the way I see it. If we look at external sources, then we'll see that tourism is the biggest industry. But if we look at ourselves as St. Lucians, every single one of us for who we really are on the inside, then you'll realize that we are actually creatives, and the creative industry is our biggest industry, who we are. Yeah, I said it. Mic drop. I said it. So you heard it from me. I am powering or empowering the creative industry. I do believe in it. I'm an artist at heart. I'm a creative at heart as well. I create a lot of the things that I do is because of this, the creation in me, the creator in me. The Lord provided me with this, and this is what I use to bring forward all of what you see before you with my team members. We are creatives. That's who we are. Malika is a creative. She creates wonderful dishes. She creates wonderful beverages. She creates ideas. She's a creative. I mean, she may not have thought of herself as that. She may have said, I'm a chef. But don't you have to create the thing in your head to put together the meal? You're creative. That's who you are. And that's who we all are. Once you can generate an idea and put it together and you create it, you are a creative. That's our biggest industry. One of these days, we will realize that. Now, we of course have come to the end of all of the interviews for our champions and our guest judge who represented our full panel of judges. But we have one more interview to show you, and that was with a very special guest that we had. I would want to, of course, let you know that there was a technical issue with that recording. So I'm hoping that it won't throw you off too much, but you'll be able to catch up at some point. There was some sort of delay or lag at some point, because of the internet connection, but you'll be able to keep following, along with the interview. So we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from our final interviewee for the day. And then we're going to sort of, cap it off in a sense, coming to a close our symposium for this year. So we will come back very, very soon. And we're back. We are back. We are back. So if you're just joining us, I am Michelle Samuel, your host, and my co-host is
Lucia Amide, your co-host.
Yes, and you have joined us on our show for this morning, the EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium. And what are we doing in this symposium? We are talking about our champions. We're talking about the judges. We're talking about the young people who are really helping to propel entrepreneurship in St. Lucia and the program that helps them to do just that. EWC, Entrepreneurship World Cup. And who runs Entrepreneurship World Cup in St. Lucia? Team Sled Terra. I am the country director, and we have our first country director, Lisa Yard, and our second co-country director, wrong place. Miss Malika Abede. So she is also on the team. It's a team of women. The three of us run EWC St. Lucia. So if you're looking to, if you want to get involved in EWC next year, check us out, any one of us, and we are available and we can connect with you. All right. So, Malika, we have our last interviewee for the morning or for the day. My goodness, it's after 1. We have the last interviewee for the day, and she is the director or the managing director of Entrepreneurship World Cup. She is the woman who made the competition or the program what it is. She came up with it, with her team. They put it together. So if it wasn't for them, we would not have it here. So we had to give props and thanks to her. And she had to be the last person that we interviewed. She had to be the last person. We saved the best for last. And I'm speaking of none other than Miss Anna Maria Torres of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. And I'm going to share right now my brief interview with Anna Maria on Entrepreneurship World Cup. Here we go. Hi, welcome back. And again, for you who are joining us today, today is Friday, the 12th of November, and you have joined us for a wonderful, wonderful session. My name is Michelle Samuel. I am your host for today's event. And what it is that we're doing, we are celebrating an Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia champions. And you're currently watching the EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium, a GEW event hosted by Sludterra. Now, I have another guest today. Now, of course, you would have known that we have several champions that we have from 2019 all the way to 2021. Most recently, the event held in July. Now, that was only the first part of our symposium. But we had a special guest that we kept mentioning and talking about throughout the day. And I think this is the best time to bring her on. Now, this particular special guest is the reason why we're all here. She's the reason why this event, this program is in St. Lucia. And she's the reason why we have entrepreneurs, innovators, even social entrepreneurs of all stages and ages able to showcase what they're doing to make an impact in the economy and by extension, the globe, providing them with a global platform that they can make a difference. And not only to do that, but to network, connect with others, and also get potential support and, of course, investors. Now, this competition is known as the world's biggest pitch competition in the world to date. No other competition comes close. Why? Because of the value behind the prizes and for the fact that every single entrepreneur who applies is automatically rewarded in some way, shape, or form. There is something in it for everyone. But you've heard a lot about it from others, from my team. You've heard about it from the entrepreneurs themselves. Let us hear from the lady herself who brought this competition by way of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. And I'm speaking of none other than Miss Anna Maria Torres. Hi, Anna.
Hello, Michelle. What a pleasure to be here and judging you all to this wonderful event. Thanks for inviting me. It's a real pleasure.
It's really great to have you with us this morning, Anna Maria. And thank you again so much for accepting the invitation to join us. Now, of course, you heard us talking about our champions before. I mean, we've had a few champions, and all of them have been young champions, our youngest being 16 years of age. And this is a phenomenal feat for us as islanders. So I just wanted to bring you on just to get some, feedback from you as to what was your impression of the champions that we have produced from St. Lucia thus far, and also what we can hope to expect from EWC in the coming years, because every year it's something new and bigger to look forward to. So first, before we go into EWC, we want persons to get to know who you are, because that is the first thing. We must make a connection with you. So can you tell our viewers who you are as an individual and how you came into being the director of EWC?
Oh, fantastic, Michelle. Thank you. I'll be delighted to share a little bit of my story. So I'm Latina, born in Colombia, raised in Colombia, but I moved abroad in multiple countries. For the past 15 years, my experience has been in more than 40 countries. So very global, and I consider myself a global citizen, where I learned how to become an entrepreneur myself, but also how to work with all the ecosystem partners. So meaning I have worked with the government, I've worked with international organizations, working directly with entrepreneurs, with ecosystem enablers, with investors. And then after working in more than 34 countries of the Americas, the Western Hemisphere, I did have the pleasure to work with the Caribbean as well. I had the honor to visit many of the wonderful islands where you are. So I had the opportunity to connect with the communities, to understand where they're coming from, to understand the needs and how those entrepreneurs emerge. Lately, I moved to the US. Part of my 15 years of experience, I was working for international organizations, Organization for American States, Inter-American Development Bank, before moving to London, where I'm currently live with my family. So it's been an experience where I think just working with all the ecosystem enablers, as I said, I've been part of the investment community, I've been part of the governments, I've worked with the private sector to make sure private and public sector are always there. And working with the ecosystem, I think I developed something that is being able to see through the lens of many institutions and how we can work together to mobilize the ecosystem, to make it work and available for entrepreneurs. And in 2019, when this opportunity came up to launch the EWC, I was absolutely thrilled to join and to lead this opportunity. And we started as a startup, I would say, as many of you are. We started, it was an idea led by the Global Entrepreneurship Network, along with the Miss Global Foundation. And they start developing this program. So EWC, just want to tell you more about it, is just not the competition, but it is a program that really focuses on entrepreneurs to help you grow, to provide you the entrepreneurship ecosystem where you can grow and scale up. Now, back to your question regarding the startups. So what we've seen and what we've been thrilled is to work on a level that are able to lead EWC in their countries and identify this incredible talent that is there, that is at the national level, and showcase that to the world. So this initiative wouldn't be possible without the leadership, commitment, dedication of our national partners, as is Michelle in St. Lucia, and as we have many more other partners all around the world. Now, what we've seen and will be the testimony of the great talent that comes out of the Caribbean, and the great things that we can see when we showcase what they are doing, not just at the regional level, but also at the global level. So as you mentioned, Michelle, we have had the youngest. She is actually the youngest entrepreneur selected in the top 100 from all around the world. So we can identify talent as young as 16 years old, and there is no limit, right? There's no limit or there's no minimum to become an entrepreneur. We've seen that they can come from all ages, all sectors, all sizes, and we really want to be as supported as possible at Gen to make sure that they can launch their business and they can grow their startups.
Thank you so very much, Anna Maria, for sharing that with us. And for those of you who are just tuning in, just remember you are watching the EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium. And with me, my special guest, Miss Anna Maria Torres, who just happens to be the EWC Director at Gen. So, Anna Maria, let's go into EWC, right? Now, when we first heard in St. Lucia about EWC, it was the year 2019. And we met in Bahrain, and that is where we connected. I attended the annual general meeting, and there was just a lot of excitement going on about this program and what it could hold for entrepreneurs, even in its first year, right? But then moving on from there, 2019 has passed, 2020 has passed, and we're now in 2021. Can you give us an idea as to what is the caliber and cadre of applications that you are seeing coming out of our region, and do you see any progress or growth within those applications?
Excellent question. So, Michelle, as you just correctly mentioned, we started in 2019. And the first leader that we had in the Caribbean was Michelle. She was one of the first ones to sign up St. Lucia for the Entrepreneurship World Cup. We were thrilled to welcome St. Lucia. So we had one of the few countries that participated from the Caribbean early ages was St. Lucia. So since the beginning, they had a track record of leading this campaign at the national level in St. Lucia. What I wanted to tell you is how this had an impact. So I want to share with you all, where you're connecting from St. Lucia, where you're connecting from another country, where you in the region in the Caribbean, because of the potential and because of the great talent that it was identified in the first edition. We had the opportunity to welcome these startups among the top EWC 100 from all around the world. So it is a massive achievement, and that was caught the attention from other leaders in the region who joined later and who start becoming part of EWC. That means that other countries from the Caribbean also were part of EWC. And I'm proud to say that this year we launched what we had, that it was the Dream Initiative, that it was the EWC Caribbean. We wanted to have participation from everywhere, every single region in the Caribbean. And we accomplished it this year. But I want to highlight is that this wouldn't have been possible without the leadership commitment and showcase of the talent that we were getting from the Caribbean, if we didn't have the participation of Michelle and her team that made the community aware of this opportunity. So what is EWC? Why is it important? Why Michelle was so keen on bringing it to you and to the St. Lucian people? So there are a couple of things that I think are really relevant and special about EWC. The first one is that it's not just a competition. We are a program that, yes, it focuses to identify talent through our national partners, through a competition, but it also, fundamentally, we focus on an acceleration program. So it's a one-year program where startups can join since the beginning of the year and join Accelerate One. Well, they have access to resources on a plug-and-play mode. So anywhere where you are at any time, you can have access to the resources according to your stage. So we have idea stage.
And we are back. This was the snippet of the interview with Ana Maria Torres, who is the director of Entrepreneurship World Cup Global from the Global Entrepreneurship Network. So if you want to see the full interview, as we would have stated, please check out our YouTube and Facebook channels and page. That's for Terra, and you can watch the full interview right there. Malika, what did you think of what she had to say about, the vision for EWC and what she's seeing from our country and our region? What do you think? You're muted.
Oh my gosh. The first thing that took my attention was the name Michelle Samuel again. That
you didn't just hear that, you heard Michelle Samuel and her team. That's what you heard.
No. Michelle Samuel and her team. No, it had to come from somebody that generated today.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you see, as a woman, I guess, of a big heart, like I always say, she saw the potential. You saw the potential and the need to, what's the word? To expose solutions to what the rest of the world has to offer, of other avenues, of other ways that they could showcase themselves, their businesses, their talent, like you said, their creativity, and like so much that we have to offer. And the fact that because of this initiative where, Little St. Lucia starting off, it propelled it for so much more of the Caribbean, so much bigger and better things that it actually became EWC Caribbean, which, give another step to actually go into global. So to me, that was a very big initiative, and I'm so proud of Splatera, Michelle, and just bringing so much more to St. Lucia.
Yeah, it really is. It was a real joy, to see this thing unfold. It really, really, really was. And this is the time where I'm going to share with you what it is I was talking about when I said we decided to do something different this year. So Anna Maria alluded to the fact that, I brought EWC to St. Lucia. That was in 2019 because I signed us up for it. It was actually a decision that I made based on all of what I saw Entrepreneurship World Cup was about. I'm like, we need this here. Like, what? No. We need this. This is coming home. This is coming home. So this was it was an impromptu decision. I normally discuss things with my team first before we make decisions, but this one I just went with it. I just literally just flew with it and I signed us up for it. And then I told them after the fact. I told them after the fact because I saw that it was needed. But then this year something happened. We had some changes. So we had a different approach to the competition. That's one. And then the second part is we had a new structure for the competition after the national finals. Like that was a major advancement and a progressive step. And I was so happy, man. I was elated. I was like, yes, finally. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Because I really I'm passionate about our people and our region. We need to show people what we can do, man. I mean, come on. Yeah. So that was what it was about. So we decided instead of just 2 pitch competitions, which we had last year and the year before, we had semifinals, then we had the finals. And we sort of, called it. That was the only 2 events we had. But that only gave people 3-minute window into the journey and lives of our entrepreneurs. There's no way you could hear or learn anything about them in 3 minutes. That's just not possible. So my team and I decided, well, I'll be completely honest with you. I literally chew on a lot. I take on a lot, right? And I wanted to do things big. And then I pulled my team on board, being like, Michelle, how are you going to do that? And like, what? And I'm like, no, don't worry. It's possible. We can do it. We can do this. We just have to pull the right people together. And then we can do this. Even though people think we're small, we can do this. So my team just came on board and like, yeah, okay, let's do this. So everybody got a role to play. And collectively, we executed the summit. We had a summit, people. Where you ever heard St. Lucia having a summit? We had a virtual summit for our entrepreneurs. And it was for them to be able to share their stories with us in a way that was comfortable for them, in a way that showcased them. So it was not just about the sponsors. Yeah, the sponsors make it possible. It was not just about the judges, because we tend to hear a lot about the feature speakers, the sponsors, and the partners. But the people who it is for, we need to know about them. What's their story? What's their journey? And the best way to go about doing it was a summit. That was just, my viewpoint on it. So this is what we decided to do. So in terms of the summit itself, I'm going to just share my screen really briefly so that you can see what it is that I'm referring to. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to show you what the web page looked like, the summit web page, so that you get a feel for it, right? So this is the summit landing page, and we had it active for a number of weeks, for a number of weeks leading up to the actual event. The first event of pitch competition would have been the preliminaries. But even before we got to the preliminaries, there was some things that had to happen first, right? So you would see the about section here, and you would see our featured speakers. We wanted to have a full packed event for everybody, to enjoy. So we had featured speakers like, Ana Maria Torres. We had Dr. Marcia Brandon, who is the founder of the Caribbean Center of Excellence for Sustainable Livelihoods, and she's the managing director of Gen Caribbean. We also had the founder of Island Innovation, James Elsmore. So we had these 3 featured speakers during our summit, and we are so grateful that all of them agreed to play a role. Now, you've seen the video of our judges, so I don't need to go through that. You, of course, would see the finalists that made it to the end. And in terms of who our winners are, they're right there for you to take a look at. You can click on any of these social media icons and you'll be able to be directed to their pages to connect with them. I will be sharing the link to this page in the comments, so look out for that. Now, this is what the agenda looked like. Okay, we had a jam-packed agenda. So starting from here, we had the opening ceremony and plenary, right? We had this event. That was on the 5th of July. Then that was at what time? That was at 10 o'clock. Then at 2, we had the role of entrepreneurship in building an economy's resilience, panel discussion. That was at 2:30. Then on that same day at 7, we had Meet the Judges feature presentation, right? Then the following day, at 10, we had Meet the Startups. This was their time, the live Q&A. You're going to hear from all of the startups that made it to the semifinals. They each got to share their story, right? Then we go to 2:30 that same day, we had Meet the Partners panel discussion. Then at 7 that same day, we had Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia preliminaries. So you got to hear from our we got to hear from the competitors before they went into the preliminaries. So in other words, how are they preparing for it? And the other thing that we wanted to add to it was the feature we had on the judges. That was another addition that I wanted to have done, because what that did, it allowed them to see and hear and meet their judges in a virtual platform and find out what it is that the judges are looking for. So they knew now how to craft their pitch for that audience, for that specific judge. And that made their pitch even more unique and memorable, because they would be able to speak to specific judges and touch on specific things based on what was being looked for. Then after the preliminaries, we had the finalists the following day. Meet the finalists, the live Q&A, where they shared their experience about the preliminaries. And we asked them, what can we expect from you in the finals? What are you going to do different? Are you going to change anything? And then at 2 o'clock, we had what can EWC do for our region, a panel discussion. And then we had the finals, where we had the final pitch competition to choose our winners, where the judges, I should say, and the audience, you chose your winner. And then finally, we have the ceremony, which is the handing over or prize giving ceremony that happened on the 15th of July. So these are the events. You can watch the replay by just clicking those buttons. You'll be redirected to the page where you can watch the replay of each of those events which took place during our summit. It was an amazing, amazing opportunity, but it didn't end there. We gave you a summit, and we gave our entrepreneurs a summit. And the other addition that happened this year that was a real, like a milestone that we hit in the Caribbean, was when the Entrepreneurship World Cup Caribbean was launched. Wow. Malika, can you please speak to that? I need to take a little break.
This additional step gave our contestants an additional avenue to pitch their startups before even going on to the global competition. The Caribbean EWC also, with all the perks and all the things that they got from the start, helped them to own on their pitches. And like Michelle said, with the preliminaries and our summit and everything that happened beforehand, gave our presenters a way to get to know the judges, get to know what would it take to put on the table so that they could get to where they need to go. And for me, the competition wasn't even like a real competition. It was a way to meet people, a family. Like, you didn't even feel like they were competing. Even Michelle putting me on the spot, trying to get me to open up myself and to be what she thinks that I am. That addition. Don't be laughing at me. Yeah, so I think the additional Caribbean was something that was much needed, to prepare us, to prepare the contestants a little more before even getting to that final step.
Yes, I agree with you. I really do agree with you. And I think what the regional competition also did, it allowed us to really look and see what else is happening in the other islands in our region. We got to see, we got to network, we got to collaborate and extend our reach beyond the shores of St. Lucia. So now we were combining our forces and coming together under one umbrella at EWC Caribbean. And we just literally watched and listened to the talent coming out of all of these islands and countries, man, in the Caribbean. That was amazing to watch. It was really amazing to watch. And Mylika, if you can remember, there was something that we all noticed. The majority of those finalists were what gender?
Female.
Women. That's right. The majority of the finalists were women. They were doing some amazing, massive things. So, women out there, you are really stepping up. You are really putting yourselves out there and, showing, everybody and that, your own people, your family, your community, your country, that you can actually solve problems, that you can contribute to the economy, that your voice matters. So, women, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing some really great things. I was really impressed this year with EWC Caribbean. And this was spearheaded by Dr. Marcia Brandon and her team. Dr. Marcia Brandon did an amazing job of putting together EWC Caribbean, on such short notice for the time frame that they had to deal with. They knocked it out of the park, man. They really did. They really, really did. But now we want to just sort of, touch on the partners, the hosts, and the sponsors that made EWC St. Lucia what it was this year. We could not have done it without you. And we're just, coming to a close, saying this to you. Thank you for creating this opportunity. Thank you for, accepting our application to host this here. Thank you for providing the content, the training, the in-kind services, and the cash. Thank you, because our people, we needed this opportunity. Thank you, especially our young people. They needed it. And for social enterprises too. Yes, it's not just for for-profits. We need it. For creatives, yes, it's for you too. Enter every year. Look out for EWC St. Lucia next year, and you better apply. So we just want to say thank you to our global hosts. Mylika, can you let them know who our global hosts were?
Yeah, GEN. Our global host was GEN. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen.
Well, I cannot see nothing on that screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah. So our our global host was MISC Global Forum, the Global Entrepreneurship Network, that is Gen HQ based in Washington, D.C., and the Global Education and Leadership Foundation. So these were the three global hosts of Entrepreneurship World Cup, St. Lucia. The national host and co-organizer for EWC St. Lucia, Sludterra, and Evolution Public Relations Management. Thank you to Vanetta Phillip for coming on board with us to host this competition. It was amazing. She was the MC, knocking it out of the park, man, doing her thing with PR and media. She was just, yeah, she was a natural. She was just doing her thing. Malika too. So if you watch the replays, you will see Malika, shining brightly. You'll see her skills too. It wasn't just Vanetta. And of course, we have our partners. So we could not have done it without our partners who provided in-kind services and perks to our participants, and who also helped us to execute this in the best way possible. We want to thank SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, the Taiwan Embassy in St. Lucia, Startup Huddle St. Lucia, again, Evolution Public Relations Management, Blue Media Marketing, the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs St. Lucia, Boost, Gen Caribbean, CEFE Caribbean, COESL, Upshift Global, Miss Hannah Fitz, P1 Marketing, Your Startup Advisor, Trophy Center Plus. These were our partners for EWC St. Lucia 2021. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We could not have done it without you. If you have any questions about EWC St. Lucia, you can take a look at the FAQ. It's right there. We have the FAQs there. And our team members, they helped to knock this out of the park. It was a lot of work, but we got it done. I am the director of EWC St. Lucia. Lisa, our first co-director. Mylika, our second co-director. Vanessa Phillip, coordinator, head of marketing. Shireen Joseph, marketing and communications coordinator. Phil Henderson, marketing collaborator. These were our team members, and we are just immensely proud of what we were able to accomplish. And I'm going to put the link into the chat so that you all can get to visit this page and take a look at the replay of the events, the questions, the FAQ section, and also find out a little bit more about Entrepreneurship World Cup and Entrepreneurship World Cup St. Lucia. Who knows what can we expect for next year? Malika, how do you think we should do it next year? What do you think? Any ideas?
Bigger, just bigger.
That's right. Bigger and better than we did this year. That's how we do it. And I just want to, of course, put a plug in for our next GEW event. We're not hosting this one, not our event per se. We're not really hosting, but one of our program participants, that is the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. Two of our women in the program are going to be taking part in the Boost GEW event that's happening today at 4 p.m. So please look out for that. It's going to be very informative. It's the web series. Okay, that's women empowerment. So please take a look at, this particular show. It's going to be live on NTN. So, of course, please tune in so that you can watch this panel discussion. We're going to have Ms. Marla Poyot, Chevron Anatole, and Senator Ms. Lisa Jawa here. So they are going to be talking about entrepreneurship, rural communities, and how they give back, and so on and so forth. So again, this is hosted by Boost and is going to be held at 4 p.m. on NTN. Please look out for that. It's going to be a wonderful discussion. And the next event we're going to be talking about and we're going to be promoting is an event that we're hosting, and that is the final event for GEW, and that is the All St. Lucia List Value Women's Talk. I just can't wait. I can't wait. And this is specifically for women. So you women that are listening, you women that are watching, I challenge you. Remember this? I challenge you to tune into this program coming Sunday so that you can learn a little bit more about what is in it for you, because we're doing this for you. All right. So we're going to just pause and play this ad for this upcoming event that's going to happen this Sunday. And then when we come back, we're going to say our goodbyes and then wish you the rest of a good Friday. So here we go. All St. Lucia, Liz Value, Women's Talk. Oop, 1 second. Let me just get it quickly. There we go. There we go. It's just taking a bit of time. Bear some patience with me. There we go. Under the theme GEW Inclusion, in celebration of GEW 2021, Slugterra is partnering with List Value to host the virtual event All St. Lucia List Value Women's Talk, which will take place this Sunday, November 14th at 2 p.m. A frank conversation with professional women, Jennifer Brennig and Nicole Hunt, on the importance of personal development coaching in the lives of women entrepreneurs and women business owners. Hosted by personal development coach Lisa Yar, who will also introduce the public to her growing and grown workshops. Women's Talk, this Sunday, November 14th at 2 p.m. See you there. And there you have it, our little plug-in and promo for this coming Sunday's GEW event, the final event, sort of capping it off for our celebration, All St. Lucia Liz Value Women's Talk. Malika, what do you think about that event coming up? Do you think you're going to participate?
I'm looking forward to. I'll probably have the most comments.
You tend to do that, whenever you're joining in as an audience member. You tend to ask the most questions. Yeah.
That's how you grow. That's how you grow, man.
So what are you expecting to hear from, this conversation? Because you said it's a frank conversation. Mm-hmm. And normally when you hear that word, you mean like, we ain't holding nothing back. Yeah. What do you think is going to be discussed there?
I guess the challenges, and as women, how they overcome all those challenges to become an entrepreneur or a person of how would I say, a person that people could look up to in communities and in business, because I guess things have changed over the years and women have been playing a bigger role in entrepreneurship that wasn't happening before. And so I'm looking forward to those burning questions and those answers that I'm looking forward to know how to overcome sometimes just little challenges, as just hearing the word no. So I'm looking forward to this.
As am I really am. And Lisa's also going to be debuting, 3 of her workshops. And I'm really excited to see that happen. I really am excited to see that happen. She's been working on these, workshops, the content and the programming for quite a while on this. This is like her baby, and she's finally going to, put the word out there about them. So we're talking about growing and grown, specifically for women in business, women entrepreneurs, aspiring women entrepreneurs and young girls. So if you fall under any one of these categories, and if you're a supporter of women's empowerment and women entrepreneurs, then I'd really advise you to watch this program. I put the link into the chat. So please go ahead, go to the page, put on your notifications, put the reminder on so that when the event is going live, you will get the notification and join in. And this particular event that is going on Sunday is part of GEW Inclusion. Okay, so with our first event, Slugterra, we're basically hosting 4 events for GEW. The first we did was the Cross Caribbean Startup Huddle. That was a collaboration between St. Lucia and St. Kitts and Nevis, the Startup Huddle chapters, and that was under GEW Ecosystems. Then we also hosted the Startup Huddle Awards ceremony, and we did that to celebrate the entrepreneurs who have presented in the program and are doing amazing things. We had 7 emerging winners, and we had one entrepreneur winning 3 awards. And we're talking about ecosystem, eco creations. Um, and the highest award was sponsored by the Global Entrepreneurship Network. So thank you once again for that. And that event was also under GEW ecosystems. And for this morning's event, we started at 11, which is the EWC Symposium. That's under GEW Education, because this is an educative program. And then on Sunday, that event is GEW Inclusion. So basically, we touched on 3 of the 4 themes for GEW this year. And we are so glad to be able to bring these programs and these events to you, our St. Lucian family and our St. Lucian public, and everybody else who's watching and joining us. It has really been a pleasure, and I really look forward to a large turnout on Sunday. I really am looking forward to that large turnout on Sunday at 2 p.m. on that YouTube page. Turn your reminders on so that you can get the notification when we go live. Malika, any parting words before we say good afternoon, good day?
Oh, yes. I would just like to say, for us to educate and teach people more about our company, Slatera, that, it's a company who has a way of connecting all ends of St. Lucia, regionally, nationally, globally, to become a better entrepreneur, to be able to connect with the different programs and the different things that are happening around us in the world, especially women entrepreneurs, especially young ladies, especially people with dreams, and like Michelle said, the creative ones. Just stay tuned to what we're doing. Stay on our pages, our Facebook, our Instagram, to see where we're at, what we're doing, so you can get that opportunity to be the best that you can be.
That was a great plug-in, for the organization. So yes, I agree with Malika, and I'm going to sort of echo her final words. Connect with us, find out how we can help you, achieve what you're looking to do. We work with youth, we work with unemployed people, and we work with entrepreneurs. These are our main beneficiaries. These are the people who we are looking to work for or to do things for, to empower. Okay, so we are a social enterprise, sourcing, connecting, and empowering through education, training, and entrepreneurship. And we do this not in competition with anybody, but we work in collaboration with individual entrepreneurs, units of government, businesses in the corporate world, labor, and community-based organizations. We work with them in order to provide what we need to do for you, the youth, the unemployed, and entrepreneurs. This is what we're about. This is our life's work, and I have no regrets about it. So I've also put the link to our website in the chat. So please take a look at our website and the programs that we have been mentioning. We've only touched on a few of them, one of which we are currently recruiting for is the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs program. The Academy for Women Entrepreneurs is a program for women, aspiring women entrepreneurs, women business owners, and of course, persons who are self-employed women. So we want you to apply for this program. Applications are currently open for the January to April 2022 cohort. We are specifically targeting unemployed women, women who have lost their job. So if you've lost your job, been laid off, and you're not working, whether it is to do with COVID or whether it is that, you're just not doing anything right now, if you're not employed, we want you. This is for you. Okay? And we're going to teach you and provide you the skills and tools that you need, the resources you need to start your own business and run things for yourself. Okay? So no longer will you have to worry where the next dollar or bread is coming from. I am telling you, if your idea is viable, if your passion or what it is that you want to do is viable, we will help you take that and put you on a starting point and then help you move up. This is what we're saying to you. So again, if you're a woman who is unemployed, have lost your job as a result of COVID or not, you're laid off, made redundant, whatever the case is, if you're unemployed and you're a woman 18 years of age and over, apply for the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs program. Read up about it and apply. I highly recommend it. We're only recruiting 36 women for this cohort. Only 36 women. Applications close on the 21st of November, so please apply. Okay? You don't have much time. Apply. We're looking forward to your application. What are you going to get? The content in terms of what we offer: entrepreneurship training, business plan writing support, project development support, action planning, guest speaker presentations, and possible access to grant funding and guaranteed seed funding. What did I say? Guaranteed. And we have a program that allows you to get it. But you have to read about it to understand what we're talking about. All right. So thank you once again for joining us on EWC St. Lucia Champion Symposium. You have been a wonderful audience. Please share this link with anyone who needs to see this. And we look forward to seeing you this coming Sunday. Have a great Friday. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Remember to follow the protocols. All right. And ensure that you get home safe to your families if you're not home already. And if you are home, stay safe. All right. So goodbye to you from Team Slud Terra. Take care, everybody. Under the theme GEW Inclusion, in celebration of GEW 2021, Slud Terra is partnering with List Value to host the virtual event, All St. Lucia List Value Women's Talk, which will take place this Sunday, November 14th at 2 p.m. A frank conversation with professional women, Jennifer Brennig and Nicole Hunt, on the importance of personal development coaching in the lives of women entrepreneurs and women business owners. Hosted by personal development coach Lisa Yar, who will also introduce the public to her Growing and Grown workshops. Women's Talk, this Sunday, November 14th at 2 p.m. See you there.